Welcome to the Battleground of the Gods.
1, 2, 3.
You remember that one time when I dropped my phone while we were doing clap sync?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Did that happen again?
Almost.
Are you holding your phone?
It's in my lap, and it almost
Okay.
fell off my
Okay.
lap. Yeah.
First world problems. I can't hold my phone and clap at the same time.
What do you mean, you don't have phones? All right. This isn't a Blizzard podcast. It's...
A Smite podcast. That's right. Battleground of the Gods. Welcome, challengers. I did that in the wrong order. Let's
You did
try it again.
Completely backwards,
No,
and I loved it.
I'm
keeping
keeping
it.
I'm
I
keeping
keep
it.
Okay.
I thought you were doing like a good depth transition. Apparently not.
No. I am your host, Step Nation, and joining me today we have Nevea03,
What's up, everybody? How are you doing?
Willow 1771,
What's going on, bots?
and that's right, ladies, Fro Double G.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Okay, I don't like it.
No.
I don't
Yeah,
like
no, that
that
was
one.
wrong.
How's it feel?
Let's start over.
How's it
Start
feel,
over.
Nev?
It's a thumbs down for me.
No.
No, we're keeping
That's
this.
for
This
Nev
is
taking
quality podcast content. But
Oh,
you know what else has some pretty quality stuff in it? Our Teespring store.
Teespring.
That's right.
Hitting them early.
Hitting them early.
BOTG-podcast. I had to look it up. There's links in the Discord, also in the show notes.
Yeah, they know the
And the
links. They know the
description,
spots.
yep.
Let's get on to the fun, boys.
All right. Well, Fro, you seem pretty excited. Tell us about your games, bud.
Well, played some games on Cupid. Always
Cupid
fun.
main.
Yep. Played
Sorry.
some games on Pele. That was
Ooh.
really fun.
Yeah.
Hey, you
I
gotta
had,
shave that. You gotta save that
let's
for
see.
the hat.
It wasn't just that one. I played
Oh.
played her in some Assault.
Oh, okay.
Although,
Okay.
thank you for stopping me because I was about to bring up the hype ass play I made with the ult mid lane.
Yep, I remember.
You know. All right.
I know
All right,
exactly
all
what
right.
you're talking about.
Played her some in Assault. She's pretty fun in Assault, really. You build her a little bruisery, like most assassins. But just slap a Glad Shield, Void Shield, Soul Eater, and like an Ankile or a Runic or something like that. Although Bulwark and Oni work pretty well on her. And pick up like a Brawlers and just fucking slap some kids. Feels great. They can't kill you. Played with Web Impulse. Haven't really had a chance to play with him. It was cool grouping up with him. Someone who's pretty active over in the PS4 Olympian Discord. By the way, there are Discords out there for every respective console to get a hold of your Olympians. If you're not in those, I highly suggest it.
Yep.
It is pretty cool getting to know a lot of the other people on the console over the past couple months. A lot of passionate people. No matter what console.
A lot.
There's lots of passionate people.
All right.
I
super
mod that
fucking
Discord.
stoked because today, yes you do. You're in that quite a bit actually. You actually helped me a lot in that fucking Discord.
I try. Because there's times when I know, like, you're at work. Like, if it's mid-afternoon, I know
Yeah.
you're not on break, and I'm like, I'll just answer this one. I know what he's going to say.
Mm-hmm. Especially a lot of times where, because, there's more than just, hey, tell us feedback and all that. We're there to answer questions and, like, if you need any help or anything, like how to play shit, like, we help with that too.
Yep.
And there's been times where someone's just been like, well, what about this item plus this item interaction or this god plus this? And, like, you or Key or who else are a lot of common ones? Zek
is in there all the time.
GT, all the fucking time.
Yeah.
He probably is the most active, honestly.
I think he is. There's a bunch of people that just pop in there and do, like, player reports, and there's some people that bugs they find, and some people who just want to give feedback. But there is some chit-chat, mostly BMing Killer XD, which is really fun. Somebody needs to ban him, please.
Yeah, I've I'm trying, man. When I'm down there, I'm going to be like, yo, this Killer XD Pro guy, he's out here trolling in every single game he plays.
Everyone.
Like, bro.
Isn't that the guy
He
sitting
hacked
here
and
next
got
to
the
you at
Olympian tag somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that.
Oh, I found out I can get my Olympian tag on the Xbox. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah?
Wow.
Oh, and that reminds me of another thing. This actually got me hyped. All right, so I was playing this one game, and apparently it was an assault. I was solo queuing, right?
Salt.
Apparently, two people on our team. Yeah, I am. There's two people on our team who were in the previous game together. This is my first game of the day, and they are fucking like right from the get-go flaming each other. The instant one dies because the other person, I think it was an Athena. I forget what the other person was. Instantly is like 0-1. I see we're starting good this game, huh? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Ooh.
Here we go. Here we go. Shots fired. Everybody just starts fucking eventually getting into it. Like, pinging, you rock, cancel that, okays, like, okay, that's too bad. Like, there's all the sarcastic shit in all the sarcastic way. And then they're typing back and forth. And I just finally hop in there. I'm like, imagine being a bunch of fucking trolling assholes. Well, actually, no, I think I said just imagine trolling with an Olympian in the party. And then right after that, it said hi in VGS. Radio silence.
Ooh.
Radio silence. And then, like, a couple minutes go by. Someone typed in, who's the Olympian in the party? VGS. Hi. They all end up shutting up, playing the game. We won.
Of course.
And then the Ratatasker sent me a message, and he's like, I am honestly surprised you were able to defuse that situation that way. And my legitimate response is like, yeah, I'm a dad. I know how to threaten a bunch of kids when they are acting fucking immature.
Bro, you know what they call that? They call that power. How does it feel?
Yeah, I would know, because I'm not really threatening them. All I said is imagine trolling with an Olympian here. And there's nothing I can really do about it, honestly.
Bro, you flexed on a bunch of kids.
You flexed on a
That's the
bunch of
truth.
kids.
But
you did the dad
well,
flex.
that's my go-to. Well, that's like my go-to, because you can't know my name. I mean, not a lot of people really know a lot of the PS4 or the console Olympians in general. But on top of that, on Xbox, I got a different name. And I didn't have that. Right after that match, I'm like, man, I just want my tag. So I message Isaiah. I'm like, yo, can I get my avatar and my title? Like, I'm not trying to be like, yo, it's mine and I want it. But just so people see that and they don't fucking troll me.
Yeah.
Like, because it's honestly, I don't get that many people who get too fucking crazy in my games.
Until you get a Zong solo.
Until
or
I hop
Zong
on
support.
Xbox. Hey, I knew that Zong supporter, and I knew what he was going for.
He was fragging. I'm sorry.
As soon as I saw that T1 lifesteal, I'm like, I know what he's going for. Pythax piece, let's go. Oh, anyway, I'll let you take over on that one, Willow. You
All right.
fragged that game, so go ahead.
I fragged that game. We grouped up with a couple people from the Discord, Web and Lantern 25 Green.
Shout out to Lantern and
yeah,
Sir
shout out to that
Boss
guy
and his crew. We've played a shit ton with those guys lately.
I actually
nice
hopped
people.
in. I hopped in Lantern's Twitch chat and said hey and talked to him a little bit. He was like, dude, I love the podcast. Super shout outs to him. Great supporter. But anyway, we were in the party chat and I was like, dude, I don't know what I want to play support, because Webb wanted to play mid. He's trying to practice that role. I was like, I'll give you mid. It's fine. So I took his support and I was like, somebody just pick something random for me. I don't care. And was it you or was it Green that said Zongque?
I want to say I said something more troll. I said Loki.
I think you said Loki,
They
and
suggested
I was
Zong.
like, fuck you. But I think Green said Zongque, so I was like, fuck it, I'll play Zongque. I'm not going to literally do anything. And in lane, it was kind of nothing. We poked them out. They had a Ymir, and I don't remember who their hunter was. It doesn't matter. We were
Was it
poking them
Ymir? I
out.
thought they had a jank lane, didn't they?
I'm pretty
Wasn't
sure
it
they
like
had a pretty
fucking
normal lane.
Chang'e and wasn't it like a Chang'e. It was a Neath. It was a Neath for sure.
I'm pretty sure it was a Neath.
No, wrong game.
Ymir.
Wrong game. Continue.
Yeah.
I will get receipts.
But anyway, we didn't like frag lane or anything, but they rotated on us, and we ended up killing them at their purple buff. Their jungler was not very good. I got out. Oh, no. It was a Ho Yi. Because this is the game. All right, so you know the pillars around Gold Fury? Not like between next to Oracles and the Gold Fury pit right there. There's little pillars in the middle. I had like less than 50 health. The Ho Yi needed to hit one basic attack to kill me. I'm running.
Yes.
I do a full loop.
Yes.
I do a full loop around the pillar and start running towards Fro. Fro sashes him as Naja.
Max range sash. I
Yeah.
will pat myself on the back for that one. I was really happy about that.
So I like, oh fuck, I'll turn around. So I turn around and card him. And then Fro somehow body blocks the last basic that's going to kill me and hits him one more time and he dies. And I just like hop a couple times and walk away. But anyway, I went like...
Oh, dude. The whole time I'm just like, body block.
Yeah.
Like trying to get in between. Willow is like, what, 20 HP? If that, you're one auto. It doesn't matter what
it
you
was
were at.
one
It was
auto
one
would have
auto.
killed me easy. Anyway, I
Oh my God.
I get out somehow, and then later I blink on the Baron mid and stun him into a Kukulkan ult, and I'm fragging. I was 7-0 to start the game. Dove their solo lane tower to get a kill on their solo laner. Dove mid tower. I was just diving towers and walking away. It was hysterical. I ended up dying twice, but I was 8-2 in like 26 or something like that.
Whoa.
It was fucking fun as hell. Other than that, I played a couple ranked games. My ranked games have been average. Good game, bad game, good game, bad game. I played 2 tonight. I played Jingwei both times. Rick was talking about Jingwei, and I was like, I haven't played her in a couple weeks. She's really boring, or she frags really hard. The
She's
first
like
game... Well,
That's
the
what it
first
is.
game, we won in 15 minutes because we had... Our Susanoo just was on a tear. He was like 9-1 at 15 minutes. I was 4-0-4. We had the first 5 kills in the duo lane. We killed... Their Thor was really bad. We killed their Jormungandr, and then their Hachiman ulted out, and their Thor ulted in. So we killed the Thor, and the Hachiman turned around to help the Thor, so we just ran at him and killed him. That was our triple kill in lane. I ended up with one of those, and the Susanoo had 2. And then he came back for a gank about 3 minutes later. Ended up with another 2 kills, so we had the first 5 kills in the duo lane. Their Thor just fed his brains out. And then, I have to say this is my only negative point for today. Stop playing Afro support. I don't care if you think it's good, you think Afro is your favorite god, stop playing it in support. I don't care if you play it solo, I can deal with it in mid. Hell, I'd rather have it in the jungle. Stop playing it support. It kills me as a carry when I literally have no lane pressure level 1, and I'm already Jingwei, and then I'm just standing under tower, and then on top of that, my Afro DC'd for a good 3 minutes. That was fun. So we're down like, I think it was like 15-2 in kills, and we're down like 2,000 gold already. We tried to surrender once. We ended up surrendering the second time, but my point is, don't play Afro support. She just doesn't do anything. She doesn't have the power to be healthy and keep you healed, and she's not tanky enough early to really be a support and effect as a support does in the 3v3. And she's just better to either farm till super late game in the solo lane or actually do some damage in the mid lane. Stop playing her in support. That's my only points. Zhonghui support was hysterical, but it wouldn't have worked at a higher elo. I would have got dicked on.
With
That's
that
all I
attitude,
got.
you would have.
Yeah, jeez. Debbie Downer over here.
Just realistic. He just doesn't do enough as a support. Like, he's fun as fuck to play, and he does a lot of damage, and he can build him kind of tanky, and he still does a crap ton of damage because his base numbers are really high. But
Yeah, Willow wasn't building support by any means. He was
No.
definitely going more solo lane bruiser.
I had-
Mystical Mail, ISO, Pythags, fucking.
I had I did start Gauntlet of Thebes. Like, I went boots, Gauntlet of Thebes, and I got Talaria boots just so I could move around the map really fast because I didn't have Blink first. So I got Talaria boots, Gauntlet of Thebes, and then I went into Mystical Mail just to be annoying as fuck. And then I went into, what was my magical item? Was it Onis or Genjis? I think
One
it was
of those
Genjis. Just for cooldown. And then I had Gem ISO, Pythags Piece, and I think we won before I finished my last item. Or I got Relic Dagger, maybe. Anyway, I had a ton of fun playing that game, if you can't tell. Nev, I know you have league games to talk
Monster
about,
of the mid lane.
and I want to hear how the monster of the mid lane slapped some kids.
Oh, my goodness. Well, last week was our game that we had to end up rescheduling to this past Sunday, so I wasn't able to talk about it because when we recorded, it hadn't happened yet. So there you go. I got to play some Vulcan, and I went, just pulling up the receipts here, 10, 0, and 12 as Vulcan in a league game.
That's
Hype.
pretty good.
Wait, hold on. You got to tell them
That's
what
pretty good,
that
man.
led to.
What that led to.
Yeah. What happened to the next set that you played?
Oh, so the set that I played 2 days ago for this week, I got targeted banned. I didn't get to play Vulcan at all for this
Ooh.
week.
That's how you know you're good, Nev.
That's what happens when you go 10-0 in a league match. They go,
Yeah,
we can't give her
10-0
Vulcan,
as well.
boys.
I'm trying to do some quick
Yeah, I would
maths.
say
Hold on.
that was your second game because the first game the enemy picked up Vulcan, and because I remember I was talking to I want to say Blaze or I was on the Xbox. It might not have been Blaze. Was it? Fuck, who was it? Oh no, it was Key. It was Key and who the fuck else was with us? Anyways, Danny Boy. There we go. It was Danny Boy, and we were watching it together, and I was like, first game they picked Vulcan. And I'm like, oh well, Nev's been talking about playing some Vulcan. Next game, Nev picks Vulcan, and I'm like, oh man, they're gonna think that she picked up Vulcan. That way they couldn't have him. Like they're gonna find out Nev wants Vulcan. And I remembered, I'm like, Nev, they picked mid before Bot G picked mid. So I'm like, Nev didn't get a chance to grab that Vulcan. She probably wanted that first game.
I
And now
did.
this is her chance to flex on it.
I did.
As soon as I seen that lock in, I'm like, oh, here we go, Nev. You've been talking about it. Let's see it.
I played Agni in the first game. Not as hype as my 10, 0, and 12 Vulcan. But out of
Damage
28
was good?
total... yeah, I think I had top damage in both games. Definitely the Vulcan game for sure. But the Vulcan game, it was 28 total kills for our team, and I did 10 of them and assisted in an additional 12. So pretty good kill participation.
Participated in 22 out of 28. That's real fucking good in a conquest. Because if you consider the side lanes and jungle fights that you're not there for, that's really, really good.
So that was hype. And then yeah, this past week's game we did a couple nights ago, and it's actually they're rebroadcasting it right now. It didn't go as badly as I thought. So this past week's team that we played against was a team that we played a bunch in the first split, and going against them made us famous for hour-long games. So we didn't get a first blood until 13 minutes into the game. And we were talking in comms during the game. We were like, oh, the casters are going to hate us for this game so much. But we ended up winning it. And I think it was like 34 minutes. And then the second game was a little less than 30. So, yeah. Good couple of league matches. Feeling really good about it. Other than that, I really haven't done too much other Smite. Except I did team up with Creed and Eve and a couple of his buddies yesterday and attempted to figure out Giannis once again and had lag spikes, and I went 0-9. Depp, how was your week?
My week was pretty darn great. Let me tell you about it. Started off with an assault. Got Godzilla. Won that match. And then I believe Fro and I were grouping up for some mode of the days. We were trying out some ult run, seeing if we could stack the ults on the tower. First match is a loss. We're like, we gotta try that again. Roll into the next match. We pull out a victory. He's beast at taking towers.
Hold up. I gotta correct you.
Okay.
For the past 3 weeks, you've been keep saying that we pull out a victory. I don't pull out.
Hey.
I see what you did there.
All right, go ahead. We can continue.
No, I'll pull up the match ID. We had 2 Olerons and
Fine.
3
Yeah,
Poseidons versus 1 Oleron, 2 Thanatos, 2 Hercules.
Oh boy,
that was a pretty close match, I believe.
Oh brother, that was something.
Yeah, and then in the other match we had, we managed to talk the whole team into playing Oleron. One of the guys was completely BM.
Dude.
And
Dude.
I think one of the dudes just didn't know, like, Oleron's kit. Because he wasn't doing
this
that.
This god is fucking trash. He's worthless.
And then he's
not
like,
even
how come
good.
I have the most
What
damage?
The fuck's this?
And I'm like, dude, I built support.
Dude, everything.
Right?
Oh boy.
It's like you went Pen and Hunter's Blessing first item. Like, oh, so.
No, yeah, we're talking someone who went cooldown boots, op shard, and then was like, well, this god doesn't do any fucking damage. And I'm like, A, you're a late game god. B,
you don't have any damage.
Bad. You got no power. You got no attack speed on a god that relies on power and attack speed.
Yeah.
So
it didn't help that we were matched up against Merlin, Neath, and then 3 Opwash.
Yeah, that didn't help.
Which
no.
You can't really counter old Opwash with Oleron. It just sticks around longer.
Yeah, I mean they're easier to dodge.
Yeah.
But does it matter?
No. It does.
No.
I can tell you no. And then
you were doing it for science.
For science, obviously.
We were.
Now you know.
We're against teams that were doing it for sweaty.
I do an arena the next day. Do Blaster Odin. End up like chunking kids from full health, and my teams come and gobble them up. I had support numbers, but I was Blaster, so in a way it feels bad, but also feels good. Picked Scotty thinking, okay, Picked Scotty thinking, okay, we got the Scotty changes coming out. Nope, that was a loss. Scotty,
oh no,
Scotty, no bueno arena. Yet. Yeah, you can't. No blink dog yet. And then the following matches are all victories as follows: Baron Samedi in Joust, Anubis in Arena, Ganesh in Mode of the Day, Odin in Arena. Then we got 2 ranked duels, both of those Ymir, both of those victories. I have an Osiris into the arena, victory there. And then 2 more ranked duels with Ymir, pulling out victories, no deaths.
Nice.
And in a way, I feel bad because these past 2 matches, they were right before the podcast, but I'm pretty sure I got matched against the same guy. He's been trying to run Ares. and that's just a big nope for him.
That's a feels bad against the Ymir.
It's a real feels bad.
Chain me once, I wall you.
Yep.
Throw out your fire, I freeze you. Oh,
Yep.
hey, I still got my damage ability. What do you got?
Yep.
Oh,
And
you ult me?
you
I
chain-
just
ult
ult.
me? Fuck you. I'm gonna ult too.
He
By the
ults
way,
me,
mine
I
does more
run at
damage.
him and ult. Yeah.
Here, let me get a little closer. Hold on. That's it, right there.
I wall him,
Save your
and then I
change, bitch.
run
I'll
up
come to
against
you.
the wall and ult. Yeah. It
Oh,
it was
shit.
a feels bad moment for him. The first game I killed him
for real.
4
It's like,
times.
don't even worry about it, bud. I'll just come to you. You ain't got to ult. Watch.
yeah.
There's no escape necessary. I didn't want to escape anyway.
I think I counter ulted his ult once because he was pulling me deep into tower and minions were nowhere near close. I was being a little bully. But oh man, I'm
So
getting a
Dep's the
little bit
new-
back on the
new
duel
hat
grind.
master. It sounds like.
Yeah.
No, I told you there's a guy that does Ymir. in
Oh, you're
duels.
right. I have
He's-
heard about this guy.
Hat master.
No,
No,
it's
there's
not
another
Hatmaster.
guy.
It starts
Trelly
with
was
an
talking
R.
about him. Trelly was talking about
He's-
him the other day.
He's
in a
got like
video.
40 stars on Ymir,
Yeah.
and I think he just lost his master's board. He's been working towards getting it again. So,
Hatmaster was playing this is a few weeks ago. He was playing a whole day of just Sylvanas and Duel. And just wrecking
Ooh.
kids.
That sounds rough.
Yep.
Like for both parties.
Yep. Because you get Polly and you just hit them so hard.
Well, I remember way back when he was on VD2, him and Define Pride, the same episode. They suggested, now granted this is back when Opshard affected structures, but Opshard Poly was your key to victory.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'd imagine Poly stayed the same. I wish Poly was good in other game modes.
Yeah, Polly just is very situational.
well, it depends on what god you're playing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got
And what
smacked
position
by
you're playing them in.
I got smacked by a Kronos with Polly because he just 2 auto, 1 or 3 auto, 1 auto, 2 auto, and just you'd be dead.
Yeah.
If your beads and Aegis weren't up, you were just dead. He hit so hard. But it was just a random that one guy. Nobody's playing Polly on most gods.
That's bad.
You can play it in duel. It's optimal.
Well,
in
in Duel, it's
Well, yeah, because it helps with your tower. Your tower.
helps
Especially
with
on
tower,
Guardians.
helps with burst,
Help
and
Bowl
if you've got a
Demon,
lockdown
helps
ability,
burst.
boom.
Jungle camps.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, on Ymir.
Plus
you
on
just
Ymir, it's damn near
freeze
core.
auto, 2 auto, wall auto.
I mean, we've brought this up before. Any god that has the same passive as an item, that item is core on them. And
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
Ymir when it comes to doing damage. That's Poly. That's his passive.
That's why Hydra's Lament is so good on Humbats, because it's basically.
Were you gonna say
doubling-
Ymir?
No. I was gonna
Were
say
you gonna
Humbats.
say Ymir?
I just couldn't
Hydra's
think of the
for
Humbats
everyone.
name. Hydra's on everybody.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
boys.
because they got basically the same passive, but one's a debuff you put on your enemy, so when you hit them, and the other is you get a buff.
Oh yeah. Yep. But yeah, I've been kind of I've been streaming the whatchamacallits, D&Ds, and
The
I've been
D&Ds,
thinking
that was
about
fun.
I've been
I
thinking
brought my
about
daughter back to life.
you did. Well,
Okay, I didn't bring her back
Different
to life. She got a
character.
new character. Different
Yeah.
character. We gave
Did you
them
all
a
have to
funeral.
redo
It
characters
was
because
sweet.
you all died? Didn't you kill like 3 out
Fro
of 4
killed
people?
Fro
that
killed
died.
half the party.
Oh,
Yeah, the 2 that died, they needed new characters. Their characters died.
Rip.
Like,
Yeah, like
I'm
dead.
doing real death. I'm
Rip,
doing
rip.
real death.
Yep.
No
They-
resurrection
by the
or
books, they got-
revivify?
Not if you're fucking level 1.
Level 1.
Yeah, true.
Collective gold between the whole party, not even 100.
Nope.
Yeah, you're just dead, boys. And no cleric's gonna be like, I'll do this for free.
Right.
Mm-mm.
But
Well, at this point, the time has passed because I think Revivify has which would
It's
be the
a-
cheapest and only possible
it's a
solution,
minute.
like 24-hour, 48-hour period.
No,
Is it a minute or
Revivify
some
is a
shit? I know
minute.
it's real short. I don't remember. off the top of my
Resurrection
head
is
'cause
like 3 days, if I remember correctly. Something like that. I haven't played in forever, so.
I haven't dealt with those spells in a while, so
Revivify is just a
Welcome
really
to
good late
Battleground
game
of the
bard spell.
Gods, a D&D 5e podcast.
Hey, it would work as a title for
I am
a
your
D&D
dungeon
podcast.
master, Dep Nation. It would.
Bruh, I would love. Maybe second channel coming soon? Question mark.
Oh gosh. Oh,
Lachi
watch out.
D&D.
Or what would you call
I would
deities
definitely
and
go
demigods?
for Battleground of the Dice.
Oh, that's a good one. Watch out.
Or
Well,
we just go Battleground of the Gods. D&D.
how
Anyway,
how
let's
about
move
we
on.
go back
Let's
back
get back
to Smite.
Smite.
Back to Smite. And Willow's been mentioned in was it MSI? Did I get that right?
Yep.
Yeah. But frankly, I don't know shit. And Fro, do you know anything?
I'm gonna be kind of useless in this conversation myself.
Yeah, Nev, do you know anything?
I mean, I have spoilers, but I'm gonna keep quiet.
Okay. Well, since we kind of we're holding back, why don't we get some professionals in here to talk about MSI?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna get something to eat. I'll be back.
All right, thanks, Depp. I brought in two of the community quote-unquote experts on SPL. LHS
Hello, everybody. My name's LHS.
and JMac Tucker.
Hey, it's that one college guy.
That college guy. JMac, you've been here before, but why don't you remind everybody who you are?
Well, for those who don't know, I am Jim McTucker. I'm a collegiate analyst and caster. I've worked with the AVGL and NACE, and most recently did get to work with Skillshot during the World Qualifiers. I think that's kind of where I kind of got a little bit more popular when I got to work on the desk. I got to be Crazy Guy Steve one day. That was a lot of fun. Everybody enjoyed that day. But other than that, I'm pretty much just a caster and analyst. I mostly do collegiate Smite, and then I also get to stream on Skillshot on Sundays, so it's kind of fun there.
Nice. LHS, tell us a little bit about you. You're new to the show.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Zach, LHS Dick. I've been around the Smite community for, 3 years now. I started my own podcast that's gone through like 15 different revisions into its current format. Started as Retake SPL, then it was Couch Talk SPL, around the Battleground. So a little similarity in the names there. And I've been just doing, high-level Smite content, pro-level content for that entire time. Worked at Hi-Res for a little bit as a community intern. Got an opportunity to work on the desk. Did host work, analyst work on the desk. Did the Energy Invitational, and then have just done really periphery stuff since then. All of my stuff really around things like that. And then I guess now I'm a professional Smite coach because my team graduated from the Combine to the SML. So,
Oh yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. So,
You excited? All right. Do you guys know if you're actually going to be in the league? Because there's been rumors
So
of
there's like
changing
no
formats.
real information, like in-depth information for us right now. The big thing is like, so they're expanding the league by top two are getting added to the league. Being with Combine, like you make money for like first, second, third, right? That's money, but it's into play every month. And then now that we're moving up into the SML, they're taking that away from us. So now nobody's getting anything. So that's really awkward. So trying to like get picked up by an org right now to at least hover wages lost from moving up the ladder. Yeah, it's a really awkward situation. Like trying to get some information from hires at this point to figure out like what the long-term plan is going on. Because trying to get an org when we're like periphery to the actual league, like we're not guaranteed to be there at the start of next season. Yeah, it's like it's an awkward place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is what it is.
Yeah, that sounds rough, man. But anyway, we had a relatively big tournament that just occurred over the last week. MSI, or the Mid-Season Invitational, just wrapped up yesterday. And viva la visa, everybody! Renegades come out of nowhere, out of 6th seed from the SPL team, and sweep Splice in
Right.
a relatively aggressive manner, if I have to say so.
I mean, not just Splice.
What did you get?
They sweeped everybody. They went 8-0.
Yeah.
Like,
They didn't lose a game.
No, like 16 team coming out of nowhere and sweeping everybody that stood in their way. This is some. Hindeman has some of the best script writing I've ever seen at this point. Because
right,
we see
You guys keep saying they came out of nowhere. I don't think they really came out of nowhere though.
Well, if you look at this face value at seeding wise, this is a 6 seed team, so it means they were the last team to make it in there. It was the bottom of the SPL that could have made it to that possible point. They were the cutoff point. And in their season, they had their highs and lows. Their highs looked really good. Their lows
Really
looked
high.
like their highs were up there, to the level of Rival and Dig. Their lows were kind of at that mid-level point, where you'd expect a 6th through 4th kind of team to be. And then when they come through and they just dominate the competition, and I don't even mean like close back and forwards. I mean, they just outright dominated the competition. I think that's a little bit out of nowhere, honestly. Like, yes, this is strong teams, but for them to come out that strong was a little unexpected, I think.
And their side of the bracket was tough. They started with PK, which is the adapting team with Deathwalker vote, and they looked like they were nothing in comparison to RNG. Then they move on and play.
I think PK at this point
go ahead.
is just a weak team.
You think they're a weak team?
PK consistent. Yeah, 100%. I don't think they sniff at World Championship this year. That team consistently underperforms. They have not looked good this season. They've been them being dominant on those teams and those teams having a bad day. They played an SK who had their worst showing and 3-0'd them. They weren't winning games convincingly when they were 3-0. They were still having problems. They weren't a fun team. They Raptors turning into LeBron sweeps them. They every time under pressure this season. And this team, like the biggest things that I can point out. So Walker has been very used to having a jungler who kind of babies his side of the map and enables him to do a lot more. And Adapting has done that a couple games and it looked really strong. And like towards the end of the season, they did that a lot. Okay, they figured it out. And then they kind of go most impatient I've ever seen. Like Adapting other people to make mistakes by making them impatient. Yeah. And now he's the perfect example is on his I forget when the Hebois. He blinks, everybody gets the ult, misses everything and gets blown up, and then the game off of that. The entire season for them as a whole. When that works because of mechanics, it's great, but that's not consistent. And that's that team as a whole right now. I don't think they are strong at all. I don't believe the hype at all.
I hear you. So RNG moves on past PK. They come up against the number 2 seed Dig, who's looked fantastic all season until the last 2 or 3 weeks, where they lose to RNG, and then who is the other team they lose to? United at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So RNG comes in and again looks dominant over a team who's been fantastic all season.
This is the unfortunate history of Dig. No matter what iteration of Dignitas that we see, it honestly comes down to the same exact thing. Have a dominant, super well performing season, and then you put them in the hot seat, and it's over. They just crack under the pressure. It happened at the World Championships last time, where sure, they got their win over SSG, but it didn't look really good. SSG struggled all last season, barely crawled their way out of the bracket to get to Worlds, and then they put up a decent fight against Dig, who should have just blown right through them, and then they go up against Splice and they just get manhandled. I mean, Dignitas just no matter what iteration of Dignitas we have, it just seems that they cannot hold up under the pressure. It just seems that they always fold over for some reason. And I mean, with Renegades, beating them throughout the season, to me, seeing them going against Dig again, I kind of expected this to be a little bit closer of a set. Dig realized, oh man, Renegades beat us. Maybe we can make some kind of adaptation to it. And they didn't. Dig could never really lost. They could not find a way to crack this Renegades team. And it's just reminiscent of how the season play went for them, is they lost to Renegades and they just didn't adapt to it. And I think that's the problem with Dig. And I really think that's the problem with being such a top team. Like these teams that are at the top of the SPL, is because they're not losing so much. They're not able to adapt when they do start losing. When they lose, they're just like, well, what do we do? We've been winning this whole time. And that's kind of the story that, we'll talk about, Rival and Armada later on, because I think that's a very important game to talk about. But these teams that are sitting at the top of at the top of the charts every time, when they do lose, they kind of are like dumbfounded. They're like, what happened? Like, we're like the best. What's going on to us? And they never made that adaptation. Maybe they thought it was dumb luck the Renegades beat them the first time around, and they didn't think they were going to need it. But that said, I don't know what happened to Dig. Their minds were just not in the game.
I can tell you what happened in the early game again. Every game this season, and then they could fight back in the late game. Dig is a team that has a ton of hubris where they don't care if you beat them early because they believe that their God-given talent is going to carry them in the late game and they're going to out-team fight you. That is their entire strategy. That's been their strategy, and it doesn't work.
And that's what they did all season.
But it doesn't work. Like, consistently across, you look at the last 3 years, that's always been game plan, has been known for. You look at Obey, you look at Dig, that's kind of what they've done. That is their hallmark. And now, like, those teams have never done it all. And because they are slow to adapt at this point. I mean, you look at that set against Renegades. Game 1, Dardes plays on her. Game 2, Dardes plays on her. Game 3, Dardes plays on her. Then this when Renegades was losing, that they lose when Dardes is on a mage, just a traditional mage. If you put Dardes on a carry, Renegades wins because that is their play style. I don't think Dardes played a mage this entire tournament. Just like, you have to see that. If I can see that as an SML coach, as a desk chair analyst, see that Dardes is, we don't let Dardes, or we ban some stuff, or we play stuff that messes with it. We know, double carry or anything like that. We throw Kuzumbo in there to really mess with his day. I don't know. This was textbook to your game plan mid-set. And I think that is the difference between a lot of teams right now, and I think it's why Renegades is winning, is we're seeing teams who have been meta slaves or the traditional smite, like, oh, this has to go in the support. That's why it's the duo lane. Duh. And like that mindset is why teams are going to smite. It's like basketball. Basketball is a positionless sport now. And that's kind of where smite's going. And if you can't evolve into that, you're not going to see that success.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Well, talking about Dardes playing carries in the mid lane, Funballer plays Zhang Kui, Chang'e, and Merlin most of his time. Through the entire...
To be fair on the Merlin, we've seen Merlin in 3 different positions in SPL play so far. We've seen a mid, solo, and carry. So,
yes.
And that's just because Merlin's so flexible with that. He has great CC into his kit, so he can build tankier and still have CC with his arcane stance, his ice stance for the slow, and then he has protection shred and the fire stance. If you want to just play him traditional mage, you can just build him the damage. You play him, carry position, just build him damage and maybe a little bit of defense to go up against the other hunters or whatever you're going against. I mean, Merlin's so diverse. The Chang'es, I think, is whatever threw everybody kind of for a loop, because we were seeing, the Vulcans, the Poseidons, we've seen the Habwas, these really traditional burst mage style characters or utility mage style characters that go into the hunter position. And then all of a sudden we see a Chang'e and everybody's like, excuse me?
I thought the Zhang Kui was just as crazy. Where does that come from?
I mean, I don't know. I'm a crazy person, and so like all of this makes sense to me. I think JMac can attest. This is things that I've been saying for the entire time I've been, like, the last at least 2 years. I've been saying, what if we did, like, one's like big things when I was in the AVGL was Yon, and when I wasn't the one playing it, it worked. We were playing the Chang'e jungle. When we were playing, I had Sobek mid. All things that I was like, why are we all? What, the game hasn't fundamentally changed since launch tournament.
I'm glad that you stressed the point when I'm not playing the Giannis jungle, because
I'm self-aware at least.
No, but I can attest. I've been watching Collegiate Smite, and there's been a lot of crazy things that happen in Collegiate Smite because it's a whole different ball game compared to even the SPL or even the SML. It's still a whole different level. Sure, there's SML level players, but there are things you see in Collegiate Smite that you would never think in your lifetime that you would see work out. Like, I saw a Ganesh jungle that worked. I've seen Kuzumbo carry that's worked. I've seen Kuzumbo Hercules duo lane that's destroyed people. I mean, you see some of the craziest stuff at the lower end of Smite, and then when you see that kind of weird, a lot of people called it cheese throughout, the jank, the weirdness, these unconventional things, and whenever I kept hearing the casters refer to different pickups as cheese or jank, you can't really call it that because it was winning. The set ADC, that's kind of janky, that's a little cheesy. What happened? It worked. Multiple times it worked for them. And because of that, you can't really call anything happening in Smite now jank or cheese. It's just, this is what they wanted to do, and it worked. Meerkat played Erlong Shen mid, and it worked.
With Blink double chalice.
I loved it. I was so livid.
They got first blood. Double blinked in first blood.
I loved it. I was so livid when I saw him. Like, this is the most Meerkat thing I've ever seen in my life, and he's not even playing Loki. Like, oh my lord.
So let's shift to the finals where RNG plays Splice, and Splice on the other side of the bracket looked really good. They looked clean in their sets. They had a few like rough games here and there, but for the most part, Aurora was playing Hercules, top tier. Baskin was Baskin. The carries were playing cleanly, really good positioning for the most part. And I'm not going to lie, I think they had a really easy bracket on their side. They started out with Hype Unit, wait, no, I'm wrong. They started out with
E-United,
you're right. They started out with E-United, who looked a little lost in their set. And then they transitioned to playing Armada, who blew Rival out of the water, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And then they move in to play RNG, and RNG looked like the better team out of the two, by far.
I think with Splice, the big thing that stuck out to me was a lot of miscommunication between the players. One of the biggest testaments to that was, I think it was game number 2. No, it was game 1 because Dardas had Ul. Game number 1, they run up to do a blue buff invade. It was Baskin and Aurora go up for a blue buff invade as Yorm and Kabrakan. Dardas starts making a rotation over on Ul, and there's either no call out or a lack of information call out from the mid laner for Splice. And Dardas shows up at the blue buff. No chance Baskin's making out. He's a level 1 Yorm. There's no way he's making out against 4 players. But for some reason, Scream decides, hey, I think I can help you out here. And Scream decides to jump into the fray and end up causing 2 deaths on their side at the start. And because of that, misinformation and miscommunication between the teams really is what cost them the first 2 games. Because their early game, they were just running in and dying and running in and not getting anything off of what they were doing and throwing too many balls out there and nothing was hitting. Or they were getting hit right back at them. Like, I think we can throw 3 guys onto these 2, and then all of a sudden 5 people show up onto those 3, and now there's nothing going for you. For me, Splice just looked lost. Game 1 and 2 is the best way to say it. Is they just didn't know what to do with themselves in that situation. They wanted to fight, but they didn't know how to fight for some reason in the early. The Kabrakan is a very aggressive pick. People will tell you the Kabrakan support is not very conventional. It's not that much because one of your CCs is extremely situational. You do have to have 5 stacks in order to get your 2 to stun. Your 1 is a single target stun, so when there's 4 of them, that's not going to do a lot. And then when you throw Tremors out there, you're standing still for 4 people to hit you. It's a very aggressive pick, and if it falls behind early, you don't get your items online, so you're not tanky, so you just die. And then your walls just are never really a factor. Like, especially if you go, let's say, they had the Yorm, but let's say you go up against a Jormungandr. Jormungandr would destroy a Kabrakan in a heartbeat because walls wouldn't mean anything to him. When they tried to go for the aggressive plays early because they had the team comp that could be a little bit more aggressive early, but it just didn't work out because I think really what it came down to, as I said at the start, was miscommunication and just unknowing what they really wanted to do in those first 2 games. Because Game 3 looked like it should have been Game 1 of the set.
Yeah, I agree. It looked like Splice finally settled in Game 3 and we're feeling a lot more comfortable in that set. But if that was Game 1, that set probably would have been completely different. LHS, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think people weren't paying attention to what Splice was saying all season. Splice has been broadcasting very vocally how to beat them, and that's shutting down the side lanes. Baskin and Cyclone Spin are their win conditions every game.
Oh, yeah,
you
100%.
listen to the players, and what they're saying is, we're not really doing much. We're just getting bailed out by Baskin and Cyclone. They have said that repeatedly. And so what Renegades was like, okay, force Scream and Aurora to beat us. We're going to force the ball into their hands and make them make the shot. And they couldn't. Venenu couldn't do it. Scream couldn't do it. They mitigated what Baskin brings to the table. They mitigated Cyclone Spin in lane. And when neither one of those guys...
Yeah, they just put some janky thing over there.
And when neither of those guys could actually do it, Splice failed. And it makes sense to me. Like, again, so Renegades did their homework. I cannot express how amazed I am that Renegades has, like, figured this all out, figured out their game plan and everything like that, all without a coach. And to a certain extent, I feel like when you've got Raffer, he's a player coach. You've got Cherio, player coach. You've got Funball, less of a player coach, but just a good guy. I just want to point that out. And then Dardes is also a really smart guy. These are all... They almost don't need a coach. I would still... Absolutely. I think in the modern era of Smite, if you want to win a world championship, you need a coach. But if there's a team that's going to do it without a coach, I think it's these guys. And for this exact reason, they went at Splice and did exactly what you needed to do. And they had this. I think that's very. It's because just saying you have to neutralize Cyclones. Just go do that. That's, saying that is one thing, but actually going out and doing it is another. I really think that one of the biggest reasons why Renegades wins this set is Funballer's play in the duo lane, playing non-traditional hunters, just playing what he wants, getting that farm. Great. And then Nika, his progression from when he started has been tremendous. The way that he plays, and he still struggles with consistency at times. We saw that at the end of the split, but that could be a multitude of factors, being burnt out, not having time to scrim, a lot of things, right? People having tape on you and all of that. But when he is on, he is, I think, one of the top solo laners right now. I don't know what his ceiling is, if he's reached it or not, but Nika, when he gets to play Yorm, he's amazing. He got to play the Achilles, the Arthur, during the final set, and then he brought out the Jean Kui the first game. Like, this Renegade, before we got to MSI, if you asked me who the most complete team was, I would have said Rival.
Yes, I agree.
I think my most complete team after watching MSI might be Renegades because of the way that they play into each other. Yeah. It's unreal what they're able to do. And I think, Cherio kind of mentioned, that he had to change his play style up from what he traditionally does to fit in this team environment and do setup and everything like that. And I think that's a really important part. When he's on the Neja, he's not looking to get that single target kill for himself. He's doing, what Twig has done for forever now, which is single out that guy in the back, and then my team's going to get here, and we're going to team fight, and we're going to kill. And he's transitioning into that sort of role, facilitating, and that has been instrumental as well. Because when Cherio was trying to be aggressive and be the star, and it's it's hard, you say star in quotes, right? Like he was never like trying to force everything through him, but he was trying to be like one of the guys, the focal points, and that wasn't quite working. When it worked, but it didn't have the same consistency. Now that he's kind of stepped back and they're all working together, if they can keep synergy and stay, relevant when meta changes, there's a lot of stuff coming through. And I honestly think all of the changes coming from mid-season patch are just going to make this team stronger. And like I said, this team has adapted to the new Smite era, where a lot of teams I feel like have not yet.
I just gotta say this before we move on. I feel like the Renegades know how to play their role on the team perfectly. Nika has all season since they've gotten into the rotation of games has played his role. He has carried when he needs to. He has been the agitator. He's been the peel. He has just played extremely smooth Smite. I don't like everybody's saying Final K is the greatest solo laner right now, and I agree. I think Final K is playing at a top tier level, but Nika is playing the role that he needs on that team. Dardes is carrying the way he is needed to. Cherio is setting up. Raffer, which we'll talk about in a second, has just been clean. He's getting picks. He's setting up his team. He's peeling like nobody else. And Funballer is just being Funball in the duo lane and just fragging on kids because he's having fun. You could see it in the games when you looked at the player cams. Funballer smiling and laughing, and he's having a good time. When they did the interview after the games, he said, I would have had a double kill if Dardes didn't have red buff when he 2v1'd as Zhonghui. And I agree, I think he would have. I think that team looks really smooth. Now, before we move on to talking about the rest of the tournament, the MVP of the set was named as iRaffer. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree, disagree?
100
Disagree.
No, 100% agree on it. Raffer played lights out that entire set. The entire tournament.
Horus looked...
No, I don't think so. I think that Raffer's played throughout. The fact that he is playing not just gods that not many people are playing, but he's playing them to a level we haven't seen yet is ridiculous. When I look at Raffer, I'm no longer just thinking, oh, he's just there as a body exists. He is a 2-time world champion for a reason. He is a damn good player. He is very strong mechanically, he's very strong positionally, and he has very good communication skills. And his ability in his play style in that last set was probably the best Raffer I've seen since, I would even say, World 2 Grand Finals, whenever they were playing against Enemy at World Season 2. That was one of the peak Raffers. Season 3, he was kind of waning a little bit, but it was still up there. This might have been the best Raffer play I've seen in the last 3 years of Smite.
I 100% agree. I think he looked clean. I think his positioning was great. He played Horus, Geb, and Khepri. And they had to ban the Geb in Game 3 because he played that well on it.
And another thing that I want to throw onto it is, typically in the history of Smite, in all the history of Smite, what is the thing that people always talk about? The supports. They're the person to go in, do the thing, and die for their team. Raffer was one of the top 3 least dying players per game, not just per game though, per tournament. The entire tournament, as a support, Raffer died 8 times. 8 games, 8 deaths.
He was playing Horus and Geb and Khepri, gods that are traditionally easy to survive on. Horus is busted. Can we all acknowledge that Horus is a really busted god?
Not just that.
So when you're saying that he's playing gods that aren't traditionally played, Horus is busted. That 2, the prot tread, and then you add on healing with and prots with his 3. It's gross. He's playing an OP god. Sure, that makes him take a step back, in my opinion. Raffer's playing well. I tweeted out, I think, one of the reasons I became a support main was Season 3 Worlds, watching Jeff Hinla on the Sylvanas, and then watching Raf on the Khepri in the finals. Like, those plays made me want to be a support main. And Raffer showed up in that Khepri, to save the game, the frame perfect last second res, amazing. But what Dardes was able to do for this team, Dardes was the win condition, and he won them the games. The on her every game, the carry, he carried these games. Without his play, they don't win. If you put almost any other mid laner there playing almost anything else, I don't feel like this team wins. Dardes should have been MVP. He was instrumental in their victories. If one's, I mean, I know Hindu and the crew on the desk were joking about a group MVP, but honestly, if we could have got a Raf, Dardez, Nika group MVP, I would have been down for that, because those three guys really were doing the brunt of the work. And that's not to say that Cherio and Fumballer weren't, because they very obviously were, but the opportunities being set up, Nika being able to shut down Baskin and not let him do things was instrumental. And then Dart is being able to impose his will on the entire team. I don't know. I don't hate that Raffer got MVP. I think he has his redemption arc. He had a really down year and 2 years, really. I mean, he was he got kicked off of NRG for being the low man. He didn't really do that well once he went to Obey, everything like that. I understand his redemption arc, and it's a really good story, and he did play well. But for me, for the best bang for my buck, the MVP on that team is Dardez, hands down.
I think that I can agree to Dardez. If it's not Raffer, it's being Dardez. Yeah. But for me, I think that Raffer helps to allow the facilitation of Dardez to be the carry for that one. The plays and the executions that they made throughout the game, the adaptations to the meta, came off the back of how Raffer was able to change around the meta with his squad. Traditionally, we've seen this as of these last few weeks of SPL, and especially into this tournament, we've seen the support solo in the solo lane all the time. Every time we've been seeing this. Raffer and his team make the decision of, we're not going to do that. We're not going to let that happen anymore. We're going to change this because we know that Dardez is our carry. So what are we going to do? We're going to let our jungler go help the solo lane because, yeah, you're good, Cherio. We know that you can do that stuff over there, but we need to make sure that Dardez can get to that point of carry. So game 2 is where we really see it, and that's where it's really highlighted in game 2, is we see that adjustment of he helps with the speed buff, and then he goes over and starts doing the red buff for Dardez to get that ball started really early. And he just sits there with Dardez and says, I am now your secondary person. What can I do to help you out? And his ability to sit in the back line, yes, he's playing the more overpowered supports, you might want to say. But his execution on those supports was almost flawless. The only one time in that last set that I could say that he just kind of goofed up was when he tried to ult himself out at the Gold Fury and he just got surrounded by everybody. That was one of those.
That was the one play.
It was a panicle.
He flopped.
Because I've done it on Horus before. You're like, oh yeah, it's my ultimate. I go to the sky, and then you're like, oh wait, but my body's still down there getting destroyed. That wasn't the best thing to do. Everybody's done it. I've done it. I mean, everybody. We even saw Raffer, one of the top supports in the world, do it right then. But I think that his execution throughout the entire, his patience, because a lot of times on gods like Horus, where you call them the combo CC supports. You know, you go in, you get the stun, and as soon as the stun is done, you get the knock up into the slow. So many times we saw him spread those CCs out because, yes, diminishing returns is a powerful thing in Smite. It makes it to where you just literally don't get CC chain forever. But him waiting out the stun, or him not going for the stun first and going for a knock-up, waiting a second or two, hit the slow to make sure that you're maximizing that, and then get in front of them, go for the stun afterward. His ability to chain CC differently than everybody else who just is following the standard, doing the meta. Stun in, knock up, slow. You know, knock up Cataclysm right away, or Cataclysm into knock up. You know, we see it so many times, but the way that he's executing his gods and the way he plays throughout this last set specifically was unreal to any support I've seen, even in, I would say, even like prime days of Hinla when he was at the top of the board. I would say it's even better than prime PBM. I mean, Raffer showed up this last set, and he really helped to get Dardez to be the carry that he needed to be for that team, in my opinion.
Can I say
he definitely
one thing,
facilitated
looking back
whole...
at game 1, that really infuriates me? So, JMac, I think we were doing stuff going into the world, right? We were talking, I think the show had started by then, right?
I think so.
The one thing that I was yelling about was Odin was being played a lot, and a lot of gods with jumps were being played, and nobody was playing a Wheelix, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally played a Wheelix and won worlds with it. Crazy how that happens. Game number 1, you have a Horus, whose 3 can be yanked by a Wheelix. You have an Uller, whose jump can be yanked by a Wheelix. You have a Jormungandr, who uses his 3 to make people get yanked by a Wheelix. Why are people so adverse to playing the Awilix in really good situations? It blows my mind to this day that people don't, like, in that, you first pick Erlang, right? You get him, right? You have a Roar. Put Erlang on a Roar. Or the Jormungandr, and you put Erlang on Baskin. Do something different, right? I don't know. Like, looking back, like it was came back to me, and it just irks me that just play a Wheelix, folks. Just play a Wheelix. I promise it's fine.
I gotta agree with you that there have been some picks where I was like, okay, you could have shifted your whole team comp, got a really good counter pick in this situation, and probably could have used that pick to at least get you headed in the right direction, get you a little bit of a lead early so you can carry that into the mid game. But there were multiple times in this in the entire tournament where the counter picks weren't being picked, and it was shocking. Like, why wasn't a Willix picked?
And I think it comes down to exactly what Zach said earlier on, is everybody is just playing the meta. And since a Wheelish is not meta, nobody's playing a Wheelish. Why would we ever pick up a Wheelish now? She's not the meta. When Renegade's like, okay, keeps not playing a Wheelish. We're just going to keep steamrolling over you with all of our gods with leaps, like On Her and Horus and Ul. And it's like, nobody is innovating right now like Renegades. And when we talk about them here in a moment, Armada. Nobody is innovating and doing different things. Nobody is trying out these crazy, ridiculous strategies. They're just saying, well, this worked before, we're just going to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. All right, so we brought up this Armada set about 4 times now. Armada comes out of the placement bracket from day 1 and 2 after beating a really good hype unit team, and they actually lost to Simplicity, who I think was another SML team that played at a top level. They just got a worse bracket and got digged. You know what I mean? Like, Dig just played Smite better than them. But I don't think that Simplicity did anything wrong. But Armada comes into the day 3 and is facing number 1 seed Rival. They've got nothing to lose. They're the SML team. They're expected to lose. And they come out and just throw the quote-unquote cheese at Rival, and Rival didn't know what to do. They looked completely lost. What do you guys got?
Literally, the only phrase that I can say to describe how that set went was what Ryan said during the cast is, Armada comes in knowing that they're the number 2 SML team going against the number 1 SPL team. When you think about the perspective of that, there's, 10 SPL teams there. That means they're lower than that. They are 10, 11 positions behind them in terms of standings. Like, that's the David and Goliath moment right there, is what they're looking at this moment. Is Armada sitting, I'm David, that's Goliath. And what does everybody try and do against Goliath? They try and send out the biggest guy they've got to fight them. They try and send out the most powerful this or that to go up against them. And what does Armada do instead? They send out David, who brings out the unconventional method, the slingshot in a rock to kill a giant. Ryan said it the best, and this is the phrase that will be used for it, is they have nothing to lose. They know that Final K and the boys on Rival can play the meta better than them. So don't play their game. Play your game. And it's a phrase I've been saying for so many teams and so many moments in Smite's history, is that they need to stop playing the opponent's game. It's the problem that SSG was making in the season, is they're playing everyone else's game. They're not playing theirs. What makes them good, what makes them strong, and what makes Armada strong is how insanely ridiculous the god pools of their players are and what they're willing to play in their position. Who until this week was thinking, let's play Erlang Shen mid, let's play Set ADC,
Hello, hi.
Who was thinking this? Nobody, except Armada. And Zach.
Guan,
And Zach, because Zach is weird.
Jungle.
Nobody out there is playing this kind of stuff, but Armada is, because that's the kind of personality that team is they are a strange team. They like weird things. When you look at the history of that team and what they have played in competitive play, the first one I think of is Meerkat played Loki mid, or no, he played Loki solo. He was the mid laner, but he played Loki on a world championship stage for the collegiate championships last fall, and had it banned away from him in the second game of play. Like, that's the kind of stuff that not just Meerkat, but everybody on that team does. They know they're not good at the
season. Yeah, thinking back to the season when Baskin and Scream were on that team initially, they were playing janky stuff all the time. They were playing mages in solo lane and just jank all over the place. And it was their style, and they ran with it. And Rival was not ready. Rival looked lost.
Where this might be, I don't know, controversial or like unpopular opinion. I think ranked Smite is closer to the true meta of Smite than professional play for a lot of teams.
Well, that's the comfort level. Especially these SML teams that are getting a lot of their playtime in ranked games.
You look at, I don't know, like Armada came out and played a ranked game, right? And I think there's a certain level of
they press
like,
the W key.
Like that. I think that has to happen looking at this game. You have to like really dissect this team. If I'm a SPL coach, analyst, whatever, I'm sitting my team down like, we're gonna watch this set. We're gonna see why what happened. We're gonna really take a long thought about this. If I'm PK, I'm really looking at this set because I have a Milsey on my team who will play insane things in that support role, and I want to unleash him. I want to put him on crazy stuff.
Hell, Zeros has been playing Jorm mid all season.
Guardians mid is not a crazy idea, and I will die on that hill. I've been saying that for forever.
No, I've seen it work. I will agree that it is a viable pick in the right comp.
With this game, what Ryan said on the desk was they came in, they didn't play the SPL game, they played their game, they played ranked. These are all ranked Nightmare. And what I said when they heard that was, all right, so Armada's going to play a ranked game. Okay, cool. That'll work against Rival. You know, I don't think of Final K. Twig is a dual main, so he's out. I don't think of Panda Cat as a ranked monster. I don't think of maybe Polar Bear Mike as a ranked monster, right? I don't think of the team Rival as ranked monsters, right? Armada win this game, and who do they have to play next? They have to play Splice. Every player on Splice is a ranked Nightmare. And so, you can't win in that one.
Nobody wants to see Baskin and Scream in that game.
Nobody wants to. You don't want to see a Roar. Roar is the worst person that you can see across the way when you're playing ranked, because he is just gonna press W. I once got in, like, I was late night and I queued into a Siege game, and the enemy team was Divios and Aurora. And this was like release Achilles. So they played Achilles and they played.
God, they just pressed W at you.
So it was like and then like Cerberus was right around that same time too, I believe, and he was still really busted. So they played Cerberus Achilles, and then it was the most unpleasant experience for 30 minutes. And when you can just
sounds about right,
annoy and harass people like this. I don't know. I think we're gonna see a lot of change come out of this MSI. I think there's gonna be the meta, the quote unquote meta, is shifting even further. So like season 6 has been like my favorite season, just because we've seen the Yor mid, we've seen the On Her mid, we've seen the Poseidon ADC, we've seen all of these things that were really fringe ranked picks kind of come into the play, and people are really starting to realize, like, oh, we can literally just play anything. And I think MSI really is going to reinforce that. And it's made my life as a coach, having the pros do really weird stuff has really made my job easier to convince my players to do really weird stuff. Thank God for the pros.
All right. The next topic I have on the list is upcoming Worlds, because after this this tournament, they've talked about reducing the number of SML teams that have the opportunity to make Worlds to only 2. One, the top team from both EU and NA, as well as allowing 4 console teams, the top of each category, having an opportunity to make Worlds. So basically, it's this tournament taken down by 2 relatively good teams. A lot of the players are really, really upset about this.
Like the first thing is like, I'll discuss the SML losing slots, but the first thing is, can we just get double elimination in regular Worlds? Every other tournament has a winners losers bracket. Can we just get like a losers bracket so we can have someone make a run back? Like, I was really hyped.
I would love to see a losers bracket.
When this bracket first came out, I was like, oh, this is Worlds bracket? There's a losers bracket for Worlds? Hallelujah, they listened. And then it was like, no, that's just the placement bracket. This is, the Worlds is the same. And I'm just like, come on, man. You had the chance. You were so close to do it. And I don't know, I hate Worlds without a double elimination, but that's a whole other thing. As far as like the SML goes, I think Hype Unit really proved that they do deserve a shot to play on the PC stage. But you look at the other team from console, which was all the other teams realistically, and none of them really put up much of a fight. I really personally loved that Jumpa's team on PS4 got stomped, because jumping off of Xbox console to get a free ride into LAN on PS4 is kind of a scuzzy move, and I'm really glad.
Yeah, it was a little scuzzy. Yeah. And a couple of people from that team did the same thing.
Right.
Covey was in that jump from Xbox to PS4 to get free ride, basically.
So you look at that team, they couldn't do anything. You look at Nemesis, couldn't really do anything. You look at I was really hyped about the console rival. I think they had a lot of good potential. I have seen a couple of their scrims where they were playing PC teams all of them playing on a controller, and it was really good. And I liked it. And Pred soloed the enemy solo laner, and I can't tell you who that solo laner was, but it was a very high profile solo laner. But they just couldn't put it all together across other sides of the map. And then when they got to LAN, they just really looked out of place. I mean, but then I'll credit to Sanguine, like their coach, standing in for Yarkor, and really, he's the best coach to stand in. Sorry, Kissier, like you.
Kabam. Nah. Kissier's still top. What do you mean? Sylvanas Kuzumbo. And then they were like, yo, what if we ban our own Sylvanas? They'll never expect it.
But he won more than one game.
I know.
Yeah.
So with the console stuff, I don't understand why they outnumber.
That actually transitions next to my next topic.
All right. Well, I think we'll give JMac a chance to talk about the SCL over SML2, though. Unless we want to just cut him off, which I'm fine with. I've been doing that for years.
Oh my god, I'm doing it more times than I can even count.
Yeah. Having SCL over SML makes zero sense. Why have the developmental SML league if you're not going to give them a chance to, which is what you're trying to do. You're trying to use that as a D league for other SPL teams to pick those players up. So let those players play against the best players so they can get picked up. That's very simple logic.
Yeah, I think the console league in a whole is just in a really odd spot, and we'll talk more about into that. But as far as like the actual console versus SML matches that we got to see, I made a mistake and talked a little bit down on Flashpoint in one of my original tweets. I went back on that and I said I made a mistake on that, but then I wanted to bring it into mostly Hype versus Armada. And Armada is the team that 2-0'd rival, and then they got beat by Splice. But Armada is the team that came out and really proved a point for the SML squads here. and Hype Unit even taking a game off of Armada where in a situation that Rival couldn't. I think that Hype Unit really proved that there is potential for the console league players. When you put some of the best console league players in the world together, they can have a chance to stand up against the competition. The problem that so many people that for me, the biggest problem with console league is the lack of respect for them. If anybody ever wants to disrespect console, please go sit at a console LAN and tell me that these aren't some of the most passionate players in the game that you've ever seen. It is ridiculous seeing the level of intensity that happens at a console-only LAN. The hard thing is making that true comparison of console versus, PC, because one of the peripheral difference on there, but also just because of the level of competition. The level of competition for the top end of console versus even bottom SML to top SML, bottom SPL to top SPL is so much wider. Like, you take Rival and then you take Trifecta and Luminosity down on the bottom end for SPL. Yeah, there's a huge gap between them, but there are still some of those big players on the bottom SPL teams that if you just gave them the right 2 or 3 more players to put around them, as opposed to just who could we grab really quick to fill this spot, we would see that gap much more narrow. Even in the SML, we had players who were at the top level, but either a lack of care or a lack of talent on a couple of roles is what separated the tops from the bottoms there. In the SCL, the tops are at the top. And then when you look at the bottom, there's 100%. Nothing. There's nothing at the bottom of the SCL. And then you had the whole transfer of the top SCL from when it was just Xbox over to PS4, and you further split the gap even more. So the people who were at the top and middle of SCL don't exist because the middle SCL said, we're done being the middle, let's go be the top on the other side. And they switch over, and now there's even further of a gap for that one. I think that, to me, is the inherent problem with SCL, was splitting the consoles first off for the professional league and allowing these players just to switch between whichever league they want. But I think it's just that massive lack in competition comparatively to the other leagues, which is why we only saw them able to take a couple of games here and there off of a top team or off of an SML team. It's because they just don't have that level of competition like an SPL team does. SPL can go scrim whatever SPL or SML team that they want, and vice versa. SCL kind of just sits there with their with their hands twiddling their thumbs, just going, well, what do we do?
I don't disagree with you. I think the competition in console, as a console player, is very weak, especially on the PS4. And it showed this whole season. It showed the bottom SCL teams looked really bad in comparison to the top SCL teams. And going back to the Worlds bracket, it's really not fair for some of these really good SML teams to get kind of pushed to the side if they lose one game. One set can change their outcome to Worlds. I understand that that's how it is. The top seed gets rewarded for being the top seed, but then you're limiting the potential upsets and the potential all-stars. And like LHS said, some of those players are looking to get into the SPL. So let them play against the SPL talent so they can prove what they are and who they are as players.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, what needs to happen with console is, we've seen this in the past with Paragon's a great example for what they were able to do. They enabled mouse and keyboard support on the console and had crossplay between PS4 and PC. So when players on the PS4 were playing against PC players, they were playing with a mouse and keyboard. It was kind of even playing field-ish because, frames per second and all that kind of stuff, right? But that's... you can make little changes on that, right? I think what we'll end up seeing is you incorporate the SCL into the SML and just have everything be homogenous and give them, you just enable mouse and keyboard support on the native clients for console. And then, if they want to use their controller for the games, let them use the controller. If they want to use the mouse and keyboard, whatever. But have them be in the SML, expand the SML by another 2 slots, 2 or 4 slots, whatever. Do a play-in bracket between top Combine teams, top console teams, and see who makes it in, and just do that going forward. And I think that solves all of our problems.
I think it's also an extra combination of the lack of broadcast between even SML and SCL. SPL gets 2 full days of broadcasting, and they're best of 5. So let's say 3 to 4 best of 5 games get played for SPL per week. That's broadcasted in its entirety. SCL and SML get 2 sets each, 1 day a week, and there's not just 4 teams in the league. There's 8 or more teams in the league for each side, for each region. There's multiple more than that per region. They're not getting the broadcast time, so they're not getting any kind of recognition in the broadcast standards. So less of the teams and players are being seen by the public. Less of those teams and players are being seen even by the pro league, because if they're not playing console, they're probably not seeing those console players. And if those console players aren't playing in their regular games or like actively coming out for it, they're not going to see them, because it's not like you can be like, oh, well, what about ranked? Ranked is disabled between crossplay. You don't get to see the console ranked players mixed with the PC ranked players. That's disabled. You can't ever see that kind of thing. And that was something they made note of early on in the season. And because of that, console has such a vast separation from everybody else. And I would even say even SML, even though you have those, former SPL and always top SML players in the SML, there's so little actual vision for those players. They don't get seen nearly as much as these SPL stars do. And I think because of that, I think that incorporating them together, making SCL and SML just one combined joint league would not only be better for the league, but I think that reformatting for it would help out a little bit. I also think that more broadcast time would be extremely beneficial for them. Give them the SPL style treatment. I think if you make SML and SCL the same, and then you put it to where their format is similar to SPL, give them the same amount of time, like, sure, people probably don't care as much about them, but giving them the same recognition, you may not be able to give them the same pay grade, obviously, but giving them the same level of recognition, giving them that same amount of time on screen as the SPL players, I think would be really good for that league, and I think it would really help them out. I think that's where the lack of respect comes in, especially for the SCL guys, because like, oh man, this SML team lost to to a console team, console blah blah blah, all the disrespect that comes to them. It's because they're not seeing the console players and how good they really are. And when they come out there and they take a game or two off of some of these SMLs, they're like, okay, so who's actually better? Is it the SML or is it the SCL? Like, what's going on in this case? And I think that it's that lack of. I can't even think of the word. I've been trying to dance around the word like for the last 2 minutes, trying to figure out exposure. That lack of exposure of the SCL and even some of the SML is what really hinders that league from going up there. And I think that's why we saw Armada be such a shakeup kind of here, is they got to be on screen finally and show what they're made of, what they've been doing this whole time consistently. And people were kind of sitting there going, Armada's pretty good, aren't they? I think when we finally get a more even ground between these 3 different leagues that are running here, we'll actually get to see something a little bit more powerful, I think. And I don't think we'll get to see that until likely Season 7, however.
I 100% agree with you. I don't think we're going to see any major changes for this split. For the second half. Phase 2 is what they're calling it instead of splits. All right, so day 1. There's a lot of drama on Twitter. I missed the first couple games, and I just happened to open Twitter to look through, and all I see is Hype Unit's not a console team. They're playing on mouse and keyboard. Blah, 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 blah. Hype Unit came out and beat Flashpoint. Yes, Flashpoint's missing Ferricrick. Ferricrick's an amazing mid laner. It really showed that he wasn't there. Sibby played mid, looked really lost. They had their sub, I believe is their coach. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Plays in solo because that's what he's a little more comfortable with. And Hype Unit just exposes the solo lane. Sibby looked lost. And Johnny just couldn't carry hard enough without Ferricrick. That just shows you what kind of player Ferricrick is for that team. But everyone's like, oh, they're playing on mouse and keyboard. That's not really console. That's not really crossplay. What are your guys' thoughts? Because this was a huge topic on Monday.
When they announced crossplay to begin with, they mentioned how there was going to be the integration of mouse and keyboard to begin with. In fact, it was mentioned that the solo laner for Hype Unit was playing on his controller, so there was some. Yeah. Personally, I think it's fine, because here's the philosophy onto it. Everybody was saying, oh, well, why are you allowing the console players to play on mouse and keyboard? Well, everybody else is playing on mouse and keyboard. If you threw them into a console tournament, for a PC team getting thrown into a console-only thing, and they get forced onto something that they're not as good at, it's not going to be well for it. If they have the ability to play whatever they want, my thing is, play what you're good at. If you're better on this other thing that you can do, then do that. Why are we forcing the console players to play at a literal mechanical disadvantage? I know there are good console players. I've seen some really insane console plays, things that can be done on a controller. But there is a certain limit that a controller has versus a mouse and keyboard. There are certain things that controller cannot
100%.
do that a mouse and keyboard can. So people that are getting into this uproar about why are they allowed to play on mouse and keyboard, why do you want to see the console players forced into a disadvantage no matter what? Like, why is that better competition for you? Is that you see a team forced to play with a handicap against a team that's already having the advantage just from the peripheral alone? I mean, I think that's my big concern is like what everybody was on about was, well, they're not on mouse, they're on mouse and keyboard, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, those guys are on mouse and keyboard. What if we instead made the SML team that was going against them have to play on a controller? You'd be in an uproar about that.
Oh, 100%. People would be flaming Hi-Rez for making them play on a controller.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, so what if they're the higher seed? So then people might be, okay, well, what if you had to play on the higher seeded teams? Well, Hype Unit was the highest seeded, console team that was out there. So then it would have forced an SML team to play on the console, and that wouldn't have been a good thing. You can't force a team in this instance when you're bringing in two different styles of play, controller versus mouse and keyboard. Even though these controller players may be the best on the controller, their controllers are only limited to what the controller's limitations are comparatively to the mouse and keyboard. I think that because of that, you allow them to play either one. They gave them the choice. They didn't say, okay, since it's a mouse and keyboard tournament you're going against with PC, you got to play mouse and keyboard. They said, no, play whatever you want to. And Inbound mentioned that they took the last couple of months of this last phase to practice on mouse and keyboard because they knew they were likely going to need that to stand a chance against them and to practice as it is a team. And because of that, that's what they went in knowing that that's the level of comfort that they were going to need. And they did look like they were pretty comfortable on mouse and keyboard. I mean, give those guys a year on mouse and keyboard, and they could easily be up there with the SPL and the top SML teams at an actual fair, an actual even level, I would say, compared to where there's a missing sub. And then you'd go into set number 2 with Hype Unit. Now you can't make the excuse of, well, they had a sub and there was a guy in his off roll. They were playing against Armada. And they took a game off Armada.
Full Armada.
They destroyed Armada game 2.
Meerkat
was like 1-14.
They should have 2-0'd. They messed up
outright,
very stupid stuff. I think it was around the Gold Fury pit and lost the game off of it. And I will say, as an analyst, I think both Sanguine and Hype Unit should have won their respective sets. And it's really sad.
And I think what it came down to was what I mentioned earlier, the lack of real competition for the console players. They're so comfortable at their top seed, what they've been playing against, that when they get to that other level, they can't get away with what they normally could in their respective league. And for me, that's why Hype Unit lost, is when they tried to 5v1 at the Titan room, kind of low HP, against Caspanify, Caspanify said, I'm a Jing Wei with Odysseus bow, y'all are low health, and I'm even to y'all. What are you idiots doing? And that proved to them, it's like, he couldn't do that on console, but he can do that here. We kind of messed up. And that's why they lost that first game. Is because they made mistakes that in their respective league, they could probably get away with. But because they're now playing on a higher level against players of their caliber, that's where we kind of started seeing the disadvantage and the mistakes that they were making and why they end up losing the second set and having to struggle in that first set, is because they're finally playing at their level, which they're not really used to just yet. So I think, we kind of went away from the whole mouse and keyboard discussion, but I think it just comes down to, why are we forcing console to play at a disadvantage? Like, that's not real competition. No. Like that's my only thing.
And those sets were great sets because they were playing on a more even playing field. Mm-hmm. That set against Armada would have gone drastically differently if they were forced to play on a controller. The same with the Flashpoint said. Flashpoint, Johnny would have just destroyed them if they were on controller. And I'm not saying that they're not top end controller players, but being able to play with a mouse and keyboard gives you an innate advantage because of the mechanics of a mouse and keyboard. And you can take advantage of that against controller players. You see it all the time in crossplay leagues where I've seen people who are playing on mouse and keyboard are just, especially in duo lane, hunters just can aim so much better. But it's across the board.
I don't know. I think
anybody have any final points?
As far as like the controller thing goes, I think the divide in certain roles isn't as big as everyone's kind of making it out to be. I think as a support, you can play just as high a level on PC using a mouse and keyboard that you can as a controller. I think solo lane, you can do the same thing. Where it really kind of matters is, the mid, jungle, and your carry roles. And even mid, you can kind of get away with it with certain picks. Like, I mean, if I'm playing Zhong Kui mid, having a mouse and keyboard is not going to make me play that god any better than a controller.
I agree.
There's certain things,
and I think Wolves proved that because Wolves played
God.
at a very high level, even using a controller.
I don't think Wolves was. I think all of Hype Unit was using mouse and keyboard because I interviewed Layers before the show and he said all of them were using mouse and keyboard.
I think they said though that Wolves was using controller at the time. If I remember correctly,
Okay.
I think somebody had asked and there were multiple people I'd seen on Twitter that were saying that Wolves was using a controller during the set.
I'll have to verify that.
If I remember
I knew for
correctly,
a fact, I knew that Rival, their ADC and their mid were both using controllers, from what I understand, and that was shocking to me.
Yeah, those are the two that I would want to be on a mouse and keyboard.
Right, exactly.
And even if Wolves wasn't using the controller, the fact that he went from controller to mouse and keyboard and still being the threat that he was as an SCL solo laner to going against these players, really strong testament for him because he was playing like he was the top solo laner in the world. Like he was playing at a level that you wouldn't expect from somebody at that because, you don't think that, the console league is going to be as strong at that. He still proved that he is a massive threat in that solo lane, no matter which peripheral you put him on. And I think that is the biggest statement for that Hype Unit team is we've seen even players like Inbound. He was on the SPL, wasn't on the best team in SPL. I think that he was very underutilized as a support player in the SPL, and I don't think that the team that he was on with LG really used him to what he's capable of doing. But there are players who were on SPL or were very near SPL on that squad and really came out to show that they're capable of playing with the big dogs.
Yeah, 100%. This has been an extremely awesome roundtable. I appreciate the two of you coming on. I want to close it out with your highlights and lowlights of the tournament. Like, what did you see throughout the day that you were like, dude, that was so awesome? What were you like, what were you face palming at, as we say? JMac, why don't we start with you?
Biggest facepalm for me is people still letting Dardez throw on her out there game after game after game after game after game. And not thinking that it's a
5
problem.
out of 6 on her game.
I just don't understand how you let a single player get away with an issue that many times and you don't address it. I think my lowlights were the lack of adaptation from a lot of teams that could have just made one different pick or one different ban, and that could change the entire course of the drafting and the gameplay phase, specifically against Renegades. And I think for me, one of my biggest highlights was seeing Armada come out and just show what the SML is capable of, and the fact that the meta is no longer the meta. That the people who follow the meta and say that this is what works, just play this, they said, well, this works. Can we play that instead? And they did it. And then, Renegades getting the 3-0 in finals. I think that was... I think a 3-0 was unexpected there. And for me, it was pretty crazy to see that. I think that overall, this tournament was done fairly well. Double elimination sure would have been nice to have all that, but when we're doing an MSI, it's not as big as the Worlds where you would think that much more stuff would matter. I would have liked to have seen more best of fives throughout the whole thing. I would have maybe liked to seen best of fives in the play-in side in the semifinals. That was kind of the low for me, is all these SPL teams went from playing best of fives every week to playing best of threes up until Cooper made the adjustment and got best of fives, at least for the top end of the semis, which was another highlight for me, was getting to see best of five semifinals as opposed to best of three. That would have just been a travesty for me.
I'm really glad they made that change.
It's so good for them to do that. But overall, I think that a lot of these teams are going to be better coming out of this tournament. I think that Rival now losing as a team, and that was something that Final K mentioned on Twitter, was that they haven't had a real loss as a team yet. Their first loss early in the season was when they were still new as a team. Now that they're a complete team and they've had a loss, they can now learn how to deal with it from there. And I think that we'll see much more improved teams moving on into this next phase.
All right, LHS, what's your facepalm and highlight?
I mean, largely, JMac and I share the same lowlights. It was a lot of lack of adaption and just, not being able to play anything but your game. You hate to see that. Like, I want us to get above that. When you have so many teams with coaches at this point, you need to be able to pivot. But I don't know, like that. JMac, really said a lot of what I had to say. I think as far as lowlights go, I mean, really didn't have that many for me. Okay, no. My biggest lowlight, oh my fucking God, I almost forgot. I fucking hate what Armada did in their first game of the tournament when they troll picked and disrespected their competition. I hate that. I hate it so much. Shouldn't be allowed, shouldn't be tolerated. There should be that should be finable. That if you go into a game and you play down, if you disrespect your opponent like that, there are rules in place for that. Yeah, I hate it. Let them at least get proper competition, proper tape. That tape that they have from this MSI is worthless.
Nothing.
There is nothing that they can gain from that. They get no value now. They came here for nothing. And in the past, I get it. I get wanting to stop your opponent and hey. But no, we are making moves and strides to get to be a very professional place. There's still a lot of immaturity, and there's just so. The lack of respect we have for each other is one of the biggest things that I hate about Smite as a whole. It's starting to get better SPL to SPL. There's a process up from SML, but then once you get in SML Combine, and then console is still viewed very poorly. Xbox has come a long way, but they're still viewed as lesser, and then PS4 is not even viewed. It really got under my skin when they did that, and I hated it. And I know Solo Troll said we probably shouldn't have done that afterwards, but you did. You went along with it, so fuck you, Solo Troll.
Yep.
That your apology means nothing to me. So that I'm very, very heated about that. I don't think there's a place for that in competitive play at a LAN, no doubt. And on the other side of that, one of the things that I did enjoy the most about this was seeing Hype Unit be competitive, seeing Sanguine with the sub be very competitive, and seeing all these teams who nobody kind of really believed in really showed hey, we've got a lot to offer still. And LATAM being represented at LAN and with a sub being able to do as much as they did. I still hands down think that they should have beat Simplicity. It was in their court. If they have Yarkor, I think we have a Hype Unit Sanguine final potentially. A Hype Unit also should have won their set. I feel like it is. I don't know. It's a great time for Smite. I think this is the hands down the most competitive Smite's ever been, and as a fan of the game, you love to see it.
100%. I'm just gonna touch on a few ones. I loved what you said about teams just being extremely competitive. These lower end teams that have been disrespected for a while came out of nowhere, showed up to play. Looked fantastic. I was really pleased with how the open of the tournament looked, other than Armada playing down, which is probably also my low light. I do agree, JMac, you nailed it when you said teams were just not being adaptable to what was thrown at them. There's no reason Dardes should have played on her 5 out of 6 games in his last 2 sets. Why?
Or let him play the on her and play the Awelix.
Yeah, play something to counter it so he doesn't go back to it. But guys, I just got to say thank you so much for coming on, Baji. It's been a fabulous hour of talking SML and SPL and SCL and this whole tournament. You guys are welcome back anytime. I'd love to have you on a regular show to talk and chit chat. And if this goes well, we might try and do another Worlds version. We'll see. Any shout outs you guys want to give?
I think JMac's got some good shout outs.
All right. Yeah, all right. Throw me there first. First, I guess, shout out to the 2 collegiate scenes that I've gotten to work with over these years. Still on the fence if we're having a fall season, although I'm working on making talks with that and making arrangements if not. Shout out to Cyclone GG, who's the org that picked me up, even though I don't stream like I should for them as much as I need to. They still support me, and I still love them. So shout out to them. And then, shout out to God for listening to all... Not kidding. On that... shout out to Machi Crew for bringing us on, bringing me on a second time. I don't know why anybody ever listens to me and wants me here, but shout out to people who actually do like me and support me out there. I mean, I think in all seriousness, like the 2 major shout outs for me, Cyclone for bringing me on, and then you guys for having me here as well. It's always a pleasure coming on, getting to talk, at the top level of this, and shout out to Zach as well, because LHS did bring me on for around the Battlegrounds, and we had schedule conflicts, so he kicked me off because he didn't like me anymore. That's the real reason. It's not, it wasn't at all scheduled. It's like, I just can't stand that guy anymore. But it has been a blast on here talking about SPL, and I do like getting to talk about the upper level of competition instead of trying to figure out how I'm going to fill an hour of talk time about college teams who trolled for like 7 years.
Oh, gosh. LHS?
I mean, is it cool to plug like my own show? Is that allowed here?
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, shout outs to UGC on my end. They picked me up for content I've been doing around the Battleground for them. For several months now. It's been great. I think we're almost on episode 30. And we just got on to podcast apps. So Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all of that we're now on there. I was fighting for that for a long time. We finally got that in. So if you liked this entire thing, go check that out. UGC Events is the YouTube page, and then we simul stream it to Mixer, UGC Events, and then Twitch UGC. That's kind of like my baby right now and getting that, and I might be picking up another show for them too. So like shout outs to them for like really giving me a chance to flex my hosting and analytics. Shout outs to JMac for being, a good sport about, coming on the show and like helping me get it launched again. And then it's just a really good time whenever I get to talk to him. Thanks to, the BOTG guys for bringing me on. It's been a long time in the making. I think we've had like 3 times where like we were supposed to come.
I reached out to you, together. I don't know, like 6 or 7 months ago. And you were like, yeah, we'll try and work it out. But it just conflict schedules, and I'm glad we finally got you on.
We'll have to do like a regular show. I'll come on. I'm slowly trying to get acclimated back into some of the like the other scenes and everything. So this is like a really good way for me to get back into it. And I mean, just shout out to Skillshot. They've been, as much as they've sucked in some areas, I think they've really been killing. I think this is largely one of the best seasons we've had from a competitive standpoint with all the rulings and the changes and all of that, but like just for the game balance wise, like they've just been killing it. So hopefully that continues to happen.
Shout out to the sidewalk for keeping me off the streets.
All right, guys, it's been a blast. Like I said, I'm gonna throw it over back to Depp.
Well, thanks, Willow. It's great having those guys on. I know.
Thank you, JMac. Thank you, LHS.
Thank you.
Sorry I'm worthless and couldn't contribute to the conversation.
Same.
At least you're worthless. It's okay.
That's not worthless.
Wow.
How
Know
dare
your
you?
role.
How
and
dare
play
you?
the game.
I wasn't saying you're worthless in general. I'm just saying you're worthless when it comes to esports.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it came out that way.
I'm sorry. I
My
didn't
biggest
mean to
problem
offend
is
anybody.
I'm able to listen for like an hour and a half, and then I go on a half-hour lunch with no internet and come back, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? And usually after lunch, it's like, all right, crunch time.
That's why I watch the VODs.
It's just hard for
If
me.
I miss stuff, I just go back and watch the VODs.
Hey, Willow.
Hey, what?
Fuck your autos. That's right. The old hat of purgatory.
We have
That
two to
and
talk
liquid
about
hot
this
magma.
week.
We do, and I know you were a part of some of it. So
Why don't you
Why
talk
don't
about
you,
fuck your
uh,
autos, Chuck?
fuck your autos, Chuck. Was just all right. It when people realize that they don't want to hit you with autos, they don't.
They
And
just
so
run
they-
away from you.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get out of the rain and not
See,
auto
I
attack
forgot
the
to
Chuck.
tell you the secret to playing this and having fun. You have to pick the slaughterhouse Chuck and like laugh at them as
Just
you're trying to
laugh
chase
at
them
them.
down.
I need to set up the macro. That's what I messed up. I should have
All right, yeah.
set up the laugh macro.
That really adds to it when they because it gets to a point. I've done this a few times. It gets to a point where they like will throw one auto, be like, "Oh fuck, it's shock," and turn around like literally like 90 degrees this way.
Yeah. I love
then you
that
just
you
run
said
after 'em
this way
laughing.
so that I know which way you're pointing.
I'm this way's anyway, but where shock is,
Oh, okay. So
like 90 degrees
it's probably
right,
more that
90
way.
degrees left. There's only two options when I say 90 degrees.
So the options are get the
Normally I
fuck
hit
away
the
from
180
shock
no
or don't do anything.
Yep.
Yes. Unless it's the mage, then it's like, give me that ass. Because the mage
Yeah.
will tear you apart.
Oh yeah. Because it's mostly physical items.
Yeah.
So, ooh,
It's fun, though. Like, if you do
Oh,
this
yeah.
in Conquest. What'd you do it in? What game mode?
I did arena.
Did you?
Yeah, that might have been part of my downfall, but
I feel like it'd
Yeah,
be a
'cause
better
you do
Clash
this in solo
one.
lane.
it might be pretty
No,
good. Clan.
no. Solo lane. Because if it's any god that uses autos at all to clear, which all do over there, they just can't clear.
But you'll
You
get
can
a
get real
magical
lucky.
matchup every now and then,
Yeah, you're right.
and
You're right.
you'll just get fucked.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
All right, let's
I'll
talk
do
about
it
the
in my
hype
Speaking
ranked
of
one.
matches.
magical,
I'll do
speaking
it
of
in my
magical
ranked
matchup,
matches.
can
Yeah.
I transition here?
you
Yes.
Because Lantern 25 Green was like begging me all day to, or he wasn't actually begging me, but he kept like wanting to pick Vulcan solo. I'm like, dude, Vulcan solo is like bad. Like, please just don't. Please, like, because he's queued up for solo. It's like if you want to play solo, that's cool, but don't go troll picking because it makes it really hard for the rest of the team. And we went to go do our Hat of Purgatory, and we warned everyone, I'm like, all right, guys, this is gonna be just dog shit.
This is gonna be
Like,
bad.
Prepare
It's
yourself.
bad.
It's gonna be bad. And he's like, real kind of sheepishly, he's like,
Can I play Vulcan
is this
solo?
the game I can play Vulcan solo and you not yell at me for it? I'm like, yes, this is the game. No, I haven't been yelling at you. I've been just saying it's bad.
Yeah.
It was funny though, because he just did it like,
We had a
He's
full
got a bit of
5-man
a,
that
like-
game.
yeah, we had a full 5-man. And like Lantern's not like a green, or Lantern 25 Green isn't like a shy guy, but
Yeah, no.
like he was just able to throw on the perfect little like sheepish tone and everything when he asked. It was hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was really good. We did this with Webb. Who was the guy? Explicit something? Who played Uller? I don't know. his
I've
name.
never played with that guy. That was our first time gaming with him.
Yeah, I can't
So he
remember
probably
his name.
thinks we're assholes. Just
Yeah.
like, look at these fuckers over in dual lane here.
And then Lantern played Vulcan. He ended up going against this Hades solo who built really damagey anyway. So he didn't do terrible. That Uller player, he played mid and played really well. He jumped in a lot and got killed because of it, but he almost always at least traded. And then Webb played Set and played pretty well, especially early. He's still practicing the jungle. he doesn't play a lot of Conquest, so we were giving him some tips and pointers, and he seemed to do all right. There was a couple late game team fights where he was kind of out of position that he just needs to practice. That's kind of stuff that you need to learn.
I think a lot of that had to do more with him not knowing set.
Well, not only that, it had to do with us being
and we
super
had a
trolly.
jank-ass team
Yeah,
count.
we had literally no front line, so he'd go in and just
it is
be
hard
dead.
to play when your teammates do that.
Yeah. So I played.
Kudos to him. I think he played very well.
Yeah, no, I think so too, especially early game. Him and the other guy were just wrecking face in mid.
Yeah, at one point I turned and look at the scoreboard and it's like, why are we 5-1?
Yeah,
what happened, guys?
what is going on?
Like,
we haven't done literally anything in
what the
lane.
fuck? We've cleared 3 waves. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, calm down over there.
But anyway, we had a fucking blast. We did nothing for the first 15 minutes, and I played sole support, which
Well, I think we had them first wave, and then second wave was pretty tied up.
Yep.
And then we just accepted that we aren't doing anything till level 5. And so we just didn't even try to aggro or anything. We just stole all the neutral farm, then took the safe farm.
Yep. We played really smart
I was
early.
Pele, which was really nice because I was able to use my 3 to run to grab bat camps really, really efficiently.
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude.
That was like one nice thing.
But yeah, we
Because that's part of the problem, like being an ADC trying to go grab those bat camps is usually you can lose a minion or 2, if not more, depending on if they're there to clear the wave or not, or if they're just going to smack each other, and timing and everything. But if you're Pele and you just hit the fucking turbos, it ain't really a problem.
So
Yeet.
playing sole support, you literally do nothing. I built super janky. They had a pretty heavy auto attack and healing comp, so I had Gauntlet, and then I tried Jade Emperors but didn't like it, so I sold it for Midgard, or maybe it was Emperor's Armor, one of those two. And then I
I
had
think you grabbed Midgard
yeah, I think so too. Then I had
because you had that and ISO in your 2 to slow
Yep.
them.
and then I had Shaman's Ring, or not Shaman's Ring. What's the purple magic breastplate? Why can't I think of it? Shoguns. I had Shoguns for auto attacks for myself and everybody else. And then I had Gemma ISO, Toxic Blade, and I think I went...
Didn't you have a Pesty?
No, I didn't have
Vulcan
Pesty.
grabbed a Pesty.
Yeah, Vulcan grabbed a Pesty. That's why I got Toxic Blade.
I know we had one. Yeah.
So I was swinging like auto attack central, but they were hitting for like 25. So I just start swinging. I'd use my 1 to keep sustaining. They'd go on me because I'm soul. They're like, oh, let's just kill the soul. And they couldn't kill me, so I'd 3 out, and then I'd use my 2 to slow everybody, and then I'd use my knock up, and it was really stupid, but it was fun as hell. And then there was a play where we rotated to mid because we were really close to, like, they had killed 2 people. Our team was getting pressured back from their jungler and support. So we rotate in, and Fro ults, and the Ganesh, was it? I think it was no, I don't remember. Whoever the support was tried to dash out, and you turn around and auto the wave like 3 times with your alt effects and just slaughtered their team off of minions.
Well, I ended up picking up a double kill, yeah, and I wasn't in range to actually hit them with my ult, and they like got behind the minions, but I just wanted to get close enough because the one was 1 hit.
Yeah,
I think it was the Ganesh, and I just knew that like he's 1 hit, and the other guy was like, he had a little bit of HP. Maybe
it was the
quarter
hell.
life-ish, and I'm like, was it the hell?
I think so.
All right, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I can, but like I'm going for the other guy. He's 1 hit. First auto connects with the wave, hits both of them, and just annihilated the one with barely any health left. I'm like,
Yep.
perfect, sweet. I'm like, fuck it. Finish off the wave at least, right? So I go, and I'm mentally thinking like, I'm just going to get the wave. Slap the wave twice, and I had a decent amount of attack speed because Willow's giving me Shoguns. I had Crusher. Fuck, I think I picked up Aussie.
You were
might be wrong about
slapping.
that,
Either
but
way.
I had a decent amount of attack speed and just smacked the wave twice real quick, and then all of a sudden just double kill, and I'm like, oh, that feels bad. I wasn't even trying. Sorry, bud.
It was one of those plays where you're like, he can't get this kill. He can't get this kill. Holy shit, he got this kill.
Hell yeah.
We ended up
I didn't even
winning
think I was
that
gonna get
game.
it. I was literally just like, fuck it, I'm gonna clear the wave. Like that was my thought. Like use my last 2 cone autos to clear the wave, and he was just in range, like just the tip for just a bit. Apparently,
Yep.
felt good.
Oh.
Felt good.
We ended up winning that game. I was 4-6 and like I have it written down. Hold on. Let me get the receipts. What did you end up going?
I got the receipts. I was prepared
there
for
you-
this. I went 15, 6, and 10.
I went 4-6 and 26. I was a
Boom.
part of 30 of our kills. No, it was a blast.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I think we ended up killing them at like Fire Giant and just like, let's just go win the game. So we did.
No, I think what we no. Remember, it was just one of those like split push to triple
You're breaking
Phoenix
up,
to
bro.
victory type things.
Whoa, you're
We
breaking
just-
up with Fro?
God damn, girl.
I'm not breaking
How
up.
dare
with
you,
Fro.
Willow?
Oh, this is so all of a sudden. I'm not speaking because Discord sucks dick.
There you
There
go.
you are.
Yeah.
I said we split push to a victory. Remember?
Yeah.
We ended up taking
Yeah, we split pushed.
left and mid, and then like they went for a right defense, and we're just like, well, we'll take your Titan. Very good. Very good.
It was a lot of fun. It was stupid, but it was a lot of fun. It was one of those games like, why are we winning this? And then you win and you're like, okay.
And it's not even like, why are we winning this? It's like, why are we stomping kids?
Yeah.
But it's just one of the ones where you look in every lane and you're like, oh, we've already taken all the towers everywhere. And we've got T1s
Far
up
ahead in money.
everywhere.
Our gold
All
lead
right.
at one point was
'Cause I think
almost 15K.
the only... Oh, no, we did end up losing, that's right, the fucking towers, because that was the one with... All right. Most of this game, we had all of our towers up, like, no problem. But they had a fucking Zoom Rob.
Oh,
who
yeah.
decided to proxy and split push his fucking brains out and prolong the game for another 15 minutes. Did not join any team fight. That's
Nope.
part of the reason why we started shit kicking him even more. But we kept having to send someone to back because he would just literally run from one wave to, or one lane to the next.
And he
Just
he
getting
didn't
all the
take any
minions, proxying.
Phoenixes. He was just basically
No, he
stealing
never-
farm.
Yeah, all he got from it is he ended up getting 2 T2 towers.
Yep.
But in the meantime, we got Gold Fury, we got Fire Giant, we got Pyro, we got every buff camp. We were still getting all the waves. So it's like, we got your fucking Phoenixes, we had a tank it for us. Like, and yeah, it's like he was not trading well in that right there. But, whatever. Pele
Yeah.
ADC, let's go, boys.
It was fun. We had a good time. All right, what's next week,
That
Depp?
sounds like a good time. Next week, we have Birds of a Feather. That is right. You got that split push, right? You got that Thoth and the Horus. And you're taking them into a match. Now,
Any kind of game mode or particular one you're looking for?
now, I was thinking we select one host and you got to group up with the community. Try to get a little community involvement going on in the Hat of Purgatory.
I'm
So
cool
again,
with that.
is it strictly conquest, or can we do this in a
You
clash
can do it in
or a joust?
any mode.
or-
Whatever you
Alright.
think will make a good story to go on the podcast. How does that sound?
I like it.
This is a pretty easy
Boom
one,
goes the
but it's
dynamite.
just kind of cool because of the name. This is one of those ones where
Alrighty.
we're giving ourselves a
am
break.
a fucking sucker for good named hats.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can 80% of these cheesy ass named hats, that's Fro.
Yep. This is
I
this is a
love
Fro
that.
Deb's
special.
got some. Did you look at
That's
the
why
one I
said,
just posted?
80%. I said 80%.
Did you see the one I
But
just
I was
posted?
on it. I was on it there for a minute. That one day I was literally just like, I would listen to a song, hop right in the Discord and think, oh, yo, this challenge kind of works with this song.
Did you see the one I just posted in ideas and shit? It's pretty
No,
good.
not yet.
It's
We're
pretty
recording,
good.
Depp. Why would I be checking ideas and shit?
Because Willow just posted the name of the Hat of Purgatory, so I had to go try and find what it actually was. Willow, get better show notes. Willow, get better shoe notes.
Okay. I'll make sure my shoe notes are tied up tight.
Okay. Just
Willow
as
had a typo in our show notes. That's where that joke's coming from.
Yep.
Just
And
FYI, everybody.
what's the other one? I forget.
out to.
Out
Out
to.
Twos.
Yeah, we're not
Outros.
doing outros this week. We're doing the out to, but you know.
Yeah, we're getting out tos.
But we need a randomizer, and Depp does not have one.
What are you talking about? We need D4.
Pick an Fro's got a D4. What? Depp calls two.
Actually, we only need like 3 people. Or a D3. I'm not going to be here.
Oh,
Oh,
that's true.
Fro's not gonna be here.
How
Yeah,
long
I'm
you-
down in Atlanta, y'all. Like,
The fuck's a
You're
D3?
down there all week?
Fucking triangle.
with D3, you can get a dice that just ran an RNG's a dice roller that RNG's with. Motherfucker, you know what? How about just make Willow do it?
Oh fuck!
Oh.
God damn it!
Shit. You know what, Willow?
I just had to
You
do.
speak
Nev
up
hasn't
and
had
you
to
get
do one in a
slapped.
while. Why do I got to do another one?
No, because this is
Nev's
for leaving us
working
high and
weekends.
dry. I had to come off the river slightly drunk. Sorry, because someone had to talk about the hat that week because Willow had to go on vacation.
I told you I was going on vacation. And I was like, hey, let's do the hat before I go on vacation. And you never joined my party. After you was like, yeah, I'll
No,
just
I got-
jump
got-
at your party when I'm on.
I got pasta nights to prepare for, so I mean,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Can't,
yeah.
can't be playing a bird when birds don't like pasta. It's known. It's known.
I hate you
Facts.
all.
I think Willow just got bullied into that.
I feel like I just got
Hat of
bullied.
Purgatory.
That's fine. I'll be here for next week, so I'll do it.
Heck yeah, brother. Taking it in stride. I like it. Well, that does it for our Hat of Purgatories, or put a feather in your cap and call it pasta night. Whatever we're doing.
that's like 17 references. Nice.
That was
job.
real bad.
Yeah.
It was real
I
bad,
tried.
but it was so bad it was good.
There
Yeah.
were a lot of long stretches to get all the pieces for that.
just a few. Just a few. You'll need a well-cooked noodle to
All right, move
snake
on.
through every single one of those.
Go to that. Go do the next thing.
All
Let me
right.
stop
No more.
Our next topic or segment is Community Corner, but I'm gonna press pause on that because we're gonna stretch it out for another week, so that way our community has time to get in their submissions for making Botji a new god. Put it in our Community Corner section. You can find a link to the Discord in our Twitter bio at Battleground of, if you need to know where to find it, or in the link in the description. Both
And
of those.
just is this where we bring up the changes we were talking about there?
Yeah, we need to bring up the changes that we're making to the community corner.
Yeah.
So
So
we've been in discussions behind the scenes.
All right, Willow's got this.
Yep, you're
good.
you're roboting real hard, so I'm gonna take it. We've been talking a little bit behind the scenes. The community corner has been something that we enjoy. We love the entries. We love what you guys add to the show. We would like to have it all the time, but it's come to a point where there's less and less entries. And when there's less entries, it's not quite as fun. So what we're going to do is do it less often so we can come up with better ideas. We haven't officially decided exactly how often we're going to do it. It's probably either going to be every other week or at minimum once a month. So we'll let you guys know at least by next week what we finally decide
feel
on.
free to let us know what you would rather prefer.
Yes, please, if you have any feedback, we have a feedback channel in our Discord. You can always hit us up on Twitter at Battleground or if you...
Or our individual ones, you can hit us up there too. Like, there's many ways to get a hold of us.
If you have any ideas, thoughts, maybe you have a segment idea that you'd like to see us talk about, please feel free to let us know. We'll try and see how we feel. Maybe we'll talk about it, work it out. We have a couple ideas in the background that we're going to work on. There's going to be a lot more battle U's to kind of take up this part of it. We're going to do a lot more independent topics. We are not going to be ever doing flat out patch notes. They are boring to listen to. We will do probably preview episodes as a patch drops. We'll talk about like some of the bigger changes and cool stuff that's coming.
As we have
Nike
been doing,
rework
basically.
busted.
Exactly. But yeah, exactly. Nike rework, amazing. I'm excited to play her and support. But anyway,
It's
a
gonna
better
just,
Kuzenbo.
So fucking fun.
Yeah, no, we're gonna be doing some more stuff, but we're gonna do the community corner less. And like I said, if you have ideas, please throw them our way. If you like this roundtable idea, maybe we'll do it for different topics, or maybe we'll do it again around Worlds time. Maybe we'll do either a Worlds preview or a Worlds wrap-up show, something like that. Let us know how you feel about how the show's going.
Yeah, anytime that there's like a big SPL event, we could probably bring the boys back.
Yep.
Well, MSI and Worlds are like the two major ones.
Yeah, those
but
are the
there
two big ones.
Other ones.
Yeah.
But we can also talk like preseason stuff, like what we think of the team changes and stuff like that, if anything. Don't worry, we're not going to be an esports podcast. I know some of you guys just don't care. But when there's bigger events, like MSI is a huge event for Smite, Worlds is a gigantic event for Smite, it's important to talk about that. We can talk about meta changes and stuff like that. So if you have any ideas...
We are a Smite podcast.
Yeah.
We talk about anything Smite related. Like,
exactly.
It doesn't really matter. Like, as you can tell, we're not the biggest watchers of SPL ourselves. We still have had guests on. We still had coaches on. We still do ourselves partake and dabble, each of us, a little bit into it. Like, we just like Smite.
Exactly.
So it don't matter in what degree we get to talk about Smite, we're going to talk about Smite. And
he's not wrong.
Not to be this in like a mean way or anything like that, but if it's not your cup of tea or anyone's cup of tea, I guess I won't direct you at anyone, but if it's not someone's cup of tea, someone else might be loving it.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're never gonna like just kind of. We're just looking to change things up so we don't get stuck in a niche, so we don't get bored ourselves.
Yeah.
So some things don't die, or fall off and all that. But we're still gonna be Bot G.
Yep.
Still
I think a
looking to
drunk
laugh.
lore episode needs to come. We've been saying it for a while.
I second that.
You know what? Maybe
all
not
those
next
in
week, 'cause
favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm not even gonna vote.
All
'cause
those opposed. The ayes have it.
Me.
Drunk lord.
Oh,
Majority rules, bitch.
that's not fair. Fro has to get the most drunk.
Hey, I kind of helped last time.
No, it was good.
I was
It
going to
was a real
say,
good one, was.
Dep could.
It only
host
took me
the
30 minutes to
drunk
figure
lore
out
if
what
you
the hell
needed
you
to.
meant by was. So I would say it was a very successful drunk
I'm trying to
lore.
figure it out. Like, what the fuck is he talking
The
about?
goddess of was.
Mid-podcast. Yeah, the goddess of was, and it's like, yes, Nev.
Demonetization.
Nailed it. Good job. Good job.
So maybe that's
Help
another
me.
thing. If there's a specific lore you want us to cover, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nev and Fro are good ones to hit up about that. We are the ones who kind of get a little passionate about that and do the research. Just FYI.
That means for your information.
And for your information, let's get out of here, Depp.
Let's do
No.
those out-twos.
No,
Let's do the out-twos.
because we haven't even mentioned where we got our bitchin' logo.
Oh, where do we get our bitchin' logo at?
You want to know?
Yeah.
We got it from wildmonkeydesign.com.
WildMonkeyDesign.com.
Yeah,
What do they do there?
all your design
All your
needs.
design.
Hey! That was a really
If
shitty
only
bit.
we had
I'm
a
sorry.
baller ass outro song to put at the end to go with that logo, though.
You know
Oh.
what, bro?
Wait, I
I
think we
believe we do.
Where did we
Is
get
there
the
more?
baller ass?
All for 1995.
Where do we get it at?
If I call within an hour, do I get the bonus special of an
The
NCS
bonus special.
outro song?
And we'll include a double feature. No, I'm kidding. But we do have
Fuck it,
NCS.
we could. You want a
no
double song at
copyright
the end of this?
sounds.
Nev, we're doing a double song at the end of this. We got it. Fuck it.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh.
You're welcome
Gotta
for
be
that
Actually,
bit,
I'm
ladies
not
and
sure about the
gentlemen.
legality of that one, but
Oh yeah. No copyright sounds. Hitting us up with
Some great outro
no
music.
copyright songs.
yep, some great outro music. And I have been your host, Dep Nation. You can find me at Dep Nation on most social media, or Dep Nation _ if you can't find me at Dep Nation. Nevea, where can we find you?
Places at Nevea03.
Willow, where can we find you?
The same places at Willow1771.
Fro, where can we find you?
Find me the same place as them, but I'll say it for us. Twitter, Discord, PSN, Xbox for the other plebs. At not at PSN. Fuck. At Fro_double_G. On the Xbox, you can find me at Depvea1771 EST.
Was Fro Double G taken on the Xbox?
I know who has Fro Double G.
Or Fro _
I do,
double
and I
_
lost
G?
the fucking account. God damn it!
Oh, that's right.
No, I made that account way back when. I've said this story. Halo 3 came out. I lost
Why
my
don't you-
account because
why
I
don't
didn't
you just-
update my shit.
Why don't you contact support and have them delete the account so you can change your name?
I'm pretty sure they
So-
purge them every now and then.
I called them way back. I guess it was a while back because it was back during the the 360 days, the very end of the life cycle, and I
So,
was
like,
on
5
the
years
phone
ago?
with them. Yeah, I was on the phone with them for an hour and a half on hold, just for them to say, well, it says right in the agreement that you plan to maintain and keep all this information and update it yourself and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, ma'am, I was in 8th grade. Like, I don't remember what my password is, but it's something like suck my dick or fuck off because, 8th grade lulz. Like,
Right.
what do you want from me, woman? I was 13.
You know what you can say? I was underage at the time I signed that contract. It is no longer legally binding.
You're correct, it is. He's right. It's no longer legally binding
Such a
because you were under the
fucking
age
accountant.
of 13. So technically you broke the terms of service.
Boom.
Yeah, they should just ban that account and reopen the name then. You're right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
News to you.
All right, let's get
All
out
right,
here.
I'm going to get myself banned on Xbox.
Good luck, buddy.
We will see you on the other side of the battleground.
Bye.
You got it right this time. Nothing is out of line. You know I'm wasted thinking just leave.